Have I met Seth MacFarlane? No, I have not met Seth MacFarlane. No, I
Seth
met
MacFarlane's
Green,
kind of
Tag him in this.
piss.
Freaking.
He doesn't want to meet me. I don't even want to meet me, and I am me.
Oh my god.
You know what?
Unlimited power! Hi guys, Rob Franzese back with the Break Room Podcast. Zach is back, and the Wolf Gang is back. Yo, yeah! And we're excited to be back. We are going to talk about Book of Boba. We have a few things we want to talk about today, but we're going to start off strong with the Book of Boba. Did everybody see the finale?
Of course.
That was so good.
Beautiful.
I liked it.
And granted, there are things I would change, but overall, as a series, I think it was really successful. It really felt like an extension to the Mandalorian mythos that we've really fallen in love with. Gives us some more backstory about Grogu and you know, the Execute Order 66 that he witnessed, which is really interesting.
That was cool.
Loved seeing Luke with Ahsoka Tano. Why?
That's
absolutely
friend of
why.
the
Come on,
family.
we've been waiting for that for a
Good
while.
old friend of the family, you know.
And it's hit a lot of the right notes. I know that some people were dissatisfied because they're kind of humanizing a character that was classically just a cold-blooded bounty hunter, and they've given him some humility and. You know, I can appreciate the character development. I can appreciate the fact that they took a risk on a really beloved character. I don't think they did a terrible job. I kind of like the idea of Boba Fett not being a prick and having, you know, feelings and a personality. But some things didn't feel like they fit in the show, like the little Power Ranger kids.
Well, let's. Why don't we all go around? Let's just give each of our own consensus on the series and. You know, some of the things we liked, some of the things we didn't like.
For sure, yeah, absolutely.
You know? I think all of us have very diverse opinions on everything.
And that's the beauty of Star Wars is that like you can have two Star Wars fans, but they like Star Wars for completely different reasons. Yeah. And that's what brings them all together is the one core thing.
Like me compared to all of us, you know.
100%. So what was your take on the show?
Well, let me get your thought out first before I.
Well, no, sometimes I have to like understand that not all this content is made for me specifically, made for my age group, us, you know, that we're a mature fan base. Some of these things need to...
Old.
Yeah, that's a way to put it. Sometimes you got to, you know, appeal to a younger group of people. They're more inclusive. They want that inclusivity. But I think there's a better way to go about it when you try to introduce, like, again, the biker gang with the young group of kids. They were, to me, just... over stylized.
They're like mole rats for like Tatooine.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. They should have been. It would have made more sense if they were a little more gritty. You know, they were like scavengers, like a Rey. Like they built their bikes from spare parts. They had these like really fancy bikes. They had the nicest shit.
They look like Vespas in the middle of Tatooine.
Yeah.
They can't afford water, but they can afford those things and to gas them up. Like, come on.
So yeah, there's just things that can be executed just a little bit better. I know where the criticism is. Also, too, you got to make this stuff compelling for the actor. You know, it's one thing. What are you going to do? Ask this guy to come back and just be this cold-blooded, quiet, murdering? I don't know. It's not compelling. For the most part.
Yeah.
And yeah, no.
It had that.
They didn't take that completely away, but you could see growth as the character. He's technically supposed to have died, and he went through something where he understands, like, I should be dead. That was that whole prelude, that whole desert scene. He's not supposed to be alive, so he now appreciates he's grown. You know, so that's cool. I think that's good for characters, and I hope they continue that. Of course, this felt like a intermission of Mando. Definitely had that feel. You know, so when Mando Season 3 comes back, and I'm sure they're going to bring Boba back, bring Tatooine back, they'll continue to expand the story, to expand the growth of the characters. So yeah, like I said, like I think it's heading in a really great direction. I know it feels like a bit of an interlude of Mando because they included Grogu and Mandalorian again, and it overshadowed a little bit of Boba's story, but they're clearly building something good. I mean, Chris, what did you think of it?
I thought it was a masterpiece.
A masterpiece.
I mean,
All
look, here's the thing. I mean, maybe I'm being generous here. What you hate? All right.
Let
so what
him
you
go.
Is that disagreement I hear? I mean,
well,
I
no,
don't
let's
know.
You said masterpiece. That's a bold.
That's a very big claim.
Considering what
The
we've
Empire
been
Strikes
given,
Back was a masterpiece.
That's a masterpiece.
The whole episode, the whole thing. Sorry.
considering what we have been given, I think that this is pretty damn good for Star Wars material.
It's better than the movies.
Okay, so yeah, there was some fucking futuristic cyberpunk kids on fucking futuristic Vespas. Okay, but they
on
really
Tatooine, the desert planet with
they
nothing
really
and no
only
water.
got like 10 minutes on camera or something. Like they really didn't get that much time in this entire season. Those fucking kids were like in the background.
They lived in
They're
a shittier
tertiary-
neighborhood than Luke, and they had better bikes than he ever had.
I mean,
It's-
you know
it's
what?
a
I think
little
it's cool to show a different side of this place, Tatooine, instead of just deserts and
They would have
fucking
fit
floating
more.
bees that
They would have
enslave people.
They
you
would
know?
have fit more onto like a Coruscant, or something like an underground biker
Yeah,
gang with some
definitely.
style.
Like an
I agree.
Alderaan.
It would have just
Yeah,
visually blended, and I think that contrast where you see these shiny, polished bikes on sand and dirt and
I
nothing.
think Tatooine. I think Dubek's outside the cantina
Yeah,
burping.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm actually at that point whenever we get around to me, I'm actually gonna go a little more. I want to go a little more in depth about that because I have some film knowledge and all of that. But Chris, continue.
I just, I didn't think that they took enough time to warrant people being upset. They're tertiary characters. Like, really, they're like, when you look at all the other characters that they're developing, the fucking Wookiee, I'm horrible with names, Chrysanthemum,
Black
right?
Stan.
He's fucking
Chrysanthemum,
awesome.
yeah. Black Chrysanthemum.
Awesome new character. You know how
He
he's
was-
awesome? You can look in his eyes and he looks badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he looks
Yeah.
badass.
No, I
just
can't argue with
looking
that.
at him.
Can't argue with that.
So awesome.
He did some
know.
badass shit too. They really let him go off the leash a little bit.
Fennec Shand. They continued Mando's story. I like that they didn't show like the next scene. What happens? Does Grogu choose the lightsaber or the chainmail? It doesn't bother even showing that. It just shows like, oh, you know what decision he made? He's on a plane back to an X-wing back to.
Now, can I
driven-
just say that was one little gripe that I had.
Yep.
I think would have elevated the storytelling of the show. Is if R2-D2 was able to pilot the X-wing all the way to Tatooine by himself. I felt that the Rancor comes out, fights the first robot, maybe it gets injured, can't fight the second one. They're about to get wiped out. R2 swoops in with the X-wing, blasts it out, to oblivion.
Your dad
and then
actually said
blasts
the
off.
same thing when it came
I
in the
thought
house.
that
he
should have
said-
happened.
His father said the same exact thing.
Because my
to
dad
me.
and I talked about it when we watched the episode, and I was like, they kind of robbed R2 of like a little
They could've
hero
been a cool
moment
moment,
and like
yeah.
a whoosh,
Or even in reverse, have R2 bomb the first one and then have Rancor.
He did say he
Boba
had to
and the
go.
Rancor kill the second one.
Yep.
But no, I see that. Yeah, it was a little, I don't know, repetitive to have him fight both of the sentries on the Rancor. It was fucking cool though. I don't know. They did a really good job. One of the criticisms, I feel like I'm going out of order. I'm sorry, but one of the things I feel like I see a lot with these shows, and it's because of budgeting and time constraint, the action and the physical fighting sequences just aren't as polished as you would see, of course, in a movie where they're spending months and months trying to do this. Simple things. Like, what's her name? She jumps off a couple of boxes.
Fennec.
Fennec. And then she, like, scurries across. And I just felt like it lacked the beats that you'd normally see in a movie where the person hop, and runs. It looks kind of,
Well, also wonky cuts they made on those jumps, too, which is like...
Yeah, did you see it, or was I alone?
Maybe
in,
she wasn't.
No, I'm that's part of my thing I'm going to go into is like...
All right, so
Well, hey,
some of
let
the
me-
physical,
let
but
me
hey,
come back
it's
to
just a
Fennec.
nitpicky, like, again, I would rather be like Chris. I enjoyed it. I
didn't
front
look at
to
it with a
back. I
lens.
was trying not to look through some crazy analytical lens.
Right.
We've talked about the movies and our criticisms of that. We're on to a new phase now, so I really did get a kick out of the whole series, and it just amps up all that hype for Mando.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, they definitely set that up. I wanted to also go back to Fennec. When she, at the very end, like when she like slit all their throats or whatever she did, like
Oh yeah.
you saw the one, was it the mayor that got the freaking, like the noose around him and just pulled up to the roof? I thought that was cool for Star Wars. Like they just showed somebody get hanged. That's cool.
An
You know what I mean?
assassination.
The master... She's
Yeah.
the master assassin.
And
Like
it
bounty
was, like,
hunters.
Super like, yep, no, actually,
Fennec
she
Shand
like
is a
slit all
badass.
their
Yeah,
throats, and then that was that. You know,
She is the master assassin.
So-
They displayed that very well,
Joe, what did you think, dude?
Well, the day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday. I love this show. The only things I would probably like nitpick about was it was just weird ending an entire episode, an entire season on a 7th episode.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah,
that was a little off-putting. I would have liked maybe one more.
That would have
like just weird to do at an odd number.
It was an unpleasant surprise.
Yeah, and then it was like, oh, it's done. That's it. He's dead.
We only figured that out last episode too. You remember we were like, wait a second, there's
I was
one more
trying to. I was
episode.
like, is they gonna have 8? They have 10? Like, what is going on here? And then we were reading like the intro for it. It's like, oh wow, this is gonna be it. Little nitpicks aside from that, I really would have liked to see, and we talked about this in one of the episodes that we did recently, was the rest of the bounty hunters that were shown in The Empire Strikes Back, like Dengar, Bosk, IG-88.
Yep.
I would have liked to see them have some sort of impact, but you can tell like right away they started going in direction with a certain bad guy. You know, Cad Bane was introduced.
Badass
and then there really wasn't
motherfucker.
enough time constraints to kind of introduce the other bounty hunters, but it would have been cool to see him as a rival. As wow, they're going to fight for this land, and he has other bounty hunters maybe trying to take him out. Instead of hiring a Wookiee, which I love the Wookiee, it would have been cool if like Dengar would have been hired to kind of take him out. It would have kind of taken everything full circle from the movies to like his origin story to him coming out of the Sarlacc pit. So I really felt like that was a missed opportunity. Hopefully they get the chance to kind of redeem that in another season. Or maybe he'll have like, a special episode in Mandalorian season 3, kind of like Mando did in this season.
That would make sense,
with the Book of Boba Fett. But all in all, I loved it.
And he was like, I mean, to think back to Mando season 2, he's highlighted in that season very well. Like
he is.
Boba Fett is.
He
has a really good part. He has a really good impact on the story. He's very badass. So like they did a really good job with the character. But I agree, there's that full circleness to it, that call back to the originals and the origin of the character versus just the Sarlacc pit and he survived, and they kind of scampered on past that.
I think it's important to teach the newer audience, as you were talking about, some of the legacy stuff that was kind of before that. So I thought that was a missed opportunity. And I agree with your dad. I think it would have been an awesome moment on screen to have R2 kind of piloting an X-Wing and just shooting the shit out of a Rancor or the robot or whatever. That definitely was a missed opportunity. But all in all, I thought it was really fun. I mean, what a time to be alive, to be a Star Wars fan. All the shit that's coming out this year. I mean, we're going to be really spoiled, packed to the gills, brother, with Star Wars stuff.
Obi-Wan coming up.
I mean,
absolutely.
May 25th, anniversary of Star Wars.
45th anniversary.
So
And
overall,
Ahsoka too.
Yeah,
It's
what
really a
about
triangle.
your gift there, Sweet, that we just got you on Christmas time? That's actually going to be the first time it's going to be live.
Talking about this?
No. We got you a gift for Christmas. What toy did you get for Christmas?
Oh, he's talking about the recent announcement
my Christmas gift to you.
was Thrawn, right? Is this what we're talking?
Grand Admiral Thrawn is
so
going to be.
they actually
already announced,
You're
pre-announced.
talking about the news.
They pre-announced Grand Admiral Thrawn is going to be the main bad
How are you
guy
not more excited
in
about
the
that,
Ahsoka
Sweet?
Tano series.
I didn't know what the fuck he was talking about.
Come on,
So
man.
I was like, you guys got me a present? What'd you get me? I don't know what the fuck you're talking
He's
about.
so quick to forget what I got him.
Wow, we've been getting him presents
no,
all
see?
fucking
But you
month.
said Christmas. I don't know. Christmas. It wasn't for Christmas.
for
It was for
Christmas.
Christmas.
Was it?
Now it's fucking February, and
Yeah.
what the hell's
I
going
do.
on?
I can't do nothing nice to this fucking guy.
Hey, I do recall that he got me the Thrawn.
Yeah.
I owe Rob a toy, and I owe Joe a toy too.
That's going to be the first fucking time we get to see him live
on screen.
It was like
we don't
action.
Yeah.
And we
Amazing.
still
Who's the
don't
actor that's
know.
playing him?
We don't know yet.
And that's a
that's
testament to the character, is that he was one of those, expanded universe characters that they actually brought to canon.
I got a great
Yeah.
question for the group. Quick
Shoot.
poll. Which actor do you think would make the best Grand Admiral Thrawn?
Nicolas Cage. No, I'm kidding.
Calm and calculating.
What do you think?
Who? I
Thrawn?
mean, we've already talked about this. I've said Benedict Cumberbatch, and it's never going to happen anyway.
He doesn't want to do it.
I know he's not going to do it.
I
The
don't
makeup.
wanna
I
do
heard
it.
it was the makeup thing that really. I think.
be a
How about the guy that played
Dissuade-
Lucius Malfoy?
He
he's
would
a good
be a-
actor. He's
he-
cool.
that
I
would
like
be a
him.
great
older.
choice.
He's older now, I
He
think.
is
though.
older now.
But he's going to be blue with fake. It's going to be fake anyway. It doesn't matter.
Well, the de-aging process though is the thing, because like Thrawn is a little bit younger.
yeah, but he's not going to be
No,
younger in the series because
Thrawn is at
this
this
is going to be after
timeline-
Return of
He
the
doesn't
Jedi.
show. He
right?
doesn't show age though. I guess is what I'm like. He doesn't
He
look
don't have
older.
like gray hair or fucking.
Well, they're gonna dye his hair. It's gonna be a
But
mix.
the skin is
He
what I'm
does-
talking
I think he
about,
does
like
have
showing
streaks of
age.
silver. Like,
Really?
he's a little
Showing
older.
the age on the skin though, because the actor who played Lucius, he's a little, I watched
He's
the
too old. He's too
I
old.
watched the Harry Potter documentary for the.
And he looks old now.
He's a little bit older.
Well, I
yeah.
gotta
Definitely-
imagine he
Yeah,
does.
he did look older.
He
than
would
that,
be
I saw
great.
that.
You know who would also be good? The guy who played Roose Bolton in Game of Thrones. I never thought of it until right now.
He's a little too. I would say Thrawn is.
Thrawn's supposed
to
to
me,
be
he's
more
very
handsome.
polished.
Yeah,
he's
went
like
4
very
episodes without talking
rigid
about
and
Game of
polished
Thrones
and
and
sharp.
there it
His
If this was the
cheekbones, his
2000s, who's the guy that played what's the agent from The Matrix and
Oh my God! If you could
What's his
get,
name?
if you could get fucking.
Oh
I
yeah.
forgot his name.
Oh, that guy. He's probably
It's
too
like
old now,
Agent
too.
Smith.
Agent Smith. Yeah.
Hugo Weaving.
Hugo Weaving.
Thank
There you go.
Hugo
Hugo
Weaving.
Weaving.
If this was the
I love it,
2000s,
Rob.
Hugo Weaving
Love
would be
it.
the
That'd be
perfect,
crazy.
Thrawn, but
Yeah.
it's not, unfortunately.
Pierce Brosnan would also be a phenomenal Thrawn.
He'd be interesting.
What's
I
the guy?
guess.
What's the guy who plays The Witcher?
Pierce Brosnan.
Henry
Oh,
Cavill.
Henry
Henry
Cavill.
Cavill, dude.
He would
I
be-
thought
he would
I
be
thought
a
about
Thrawn.
that.
He's too big.
Henry
He's
Cavill.
got to be.
He's
He's
he'll be
thin
fucking
profile.
brolic.
First of all,
He'll be-
Thrawn is a warrior. Thrawn will
No,
beat
but
the
he's a
shit out
he's
of
got
you.
a
Henry
very
Cavill's huge.
narrow profile. He's
Yeah.
tall,
Yeah.
narrow.
Thrawn is slender.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey could do anything at any time. But wait, all right. So what's the value of bringing Thrawn in beyond just like
We're just going
whoa,
to sidetrack
Thrawn?
the conversation. That's what we do best
I
on
will-
this
I
show.
have a
No,
feeling.
I'm just gonna go fuck
Star
myself
Wars.
over here. It's
You didn't
okay.
get to
My
Rob yet.
my opinion doesn't
No,
matter.
I already went.
You went first.
Hey,
yeah.
you brought up the toy. You brought it up.
You said
Brought
I'm bringing
up-
heat on
All
on
right,
you.
so wait, we
said-
didn't really finish talking about Book of Boba.
We did not.
I know Zach
at all.
had some
Zach was going to
input,
take it home.
some
I was gonna
specific
take it home. Thank
criticisms.
you.
Zach,
Somebody
take
remember.
it home for us.
Thank you.
Give us some analytics
Give us-
here.
give us the hot take.
Because also too, I want to get a quick. What did you know? A quick number. Like, what would you rank the whole Book of Boba season as? But you know, it's kind of a wrap up. Wrap up question.
Okay, so
Score.
I
I
look
look at a rookie's number either.
I look at everything from an analytical perspective in some ways because I'm very, I like film and cinema, and I like the process of creating all of that, right? I love the behind the scenes stuff. I've always been a fan of that. I would love to be a film director one day. So
Shout out to Phil, by the way. Phil, thank you for watching this.
I look at a lot of things like the filming process and the way scenes are shot and the actions or the colors or the way it's all portrayed. I look at that carefully because very small details can mean a lot of things in these these kinds of things that
Black
directors want to portray. Book of Boba Fett overall was like really solid. I loved it. Like I don't think there was a dull moment in the season except for the low speed Vespa chase. That was pretty horrible. That was horrible.
So you would say that was not a masterpiece.
No, absolutely not.
But Chris would disagree.
In terms of like a rating, it was like a 7.8 out of 10.
It's a good score.
I would say it's very like
Solid.
it's very like
Destiny
above
score?
average. It's above
That's
average.
blasphemy. It
It
was
is not
way
at
better
all.
than
Even an
that. You
8,
people are impossible to fucking please.
I'm
That's
not.
what I've determined.
I'm
You're too easy
So
to
where,
please.
all right, where did
like the
where does the
Nuremberg
deduction
trial.
come from? Yeah,
So
let's
I'm
go.
get- I'm
Let's
getting
let
to
this
that.
guy make his case.
getting into it. Okay, so for
Solid.
one, Tatooine has a very there's a profile of Tatooine that has been established. It is
Dewbacks.
Dewbacks. It is
Sand
like,
people.
It is a
Jawas.
cruel, unforgiving, very bland
Yes,
Outer
face.
Rim.
planet, right?
Outer Rim.
Yeah.
and bland.
Mos
So-
Eisley Spaceport. You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. You must be cautious.
Is it possible that these people are not from the planet? Like they're just
They are very
tourists,
much
or
from
they're-
the planet. It's been established that
They're like born there.
They were born
Did
there.
they say
there,
that? They said
raised
they were born there,
there,
raised there. The
suffering
one girl's
there.
got a British accent. So what's that about?
I'm getting around to things, right? So Tatooine has this base, like everyone knows when you think Tatooine, you think sand, you think like death,
Nothing.
like hatred.
Gotta
like
get
just
outta here.
Yeah, gotta get out of here, right?
Blue
You
milk.
think of you think of poverty and like people like doing an earnest day's job to just get by, right?
And farming for moisture. For
Yeah,
water.
you're farming for water. Like that's how fucking rough it is out here.
And I did think it was interesting that they said that Tatooine was once underwater.
Yeah.
Like it was cool that they
that's-
dropped that
Yeah.
little bit of history that they never established.
So when you
Prelude to
have
Earth.
this profile and you have this well-established view of what Tatooine is, right? And then color is an important part. You think when I say Tatooine, what color comes to your mind right away?
Beige.
Do you think that it
Yeah.
looks like the flea market?
Exactly, right?
Everything is
Tri-County.
Tri-County Flea
Yeah.
Market.
Yeah.
Tri-County flea market.
exactly, right?
Everything is
Tri-County
beige
Tatooine
and cream
and that's
colored.
important. That's a
Yeah.
very important aspect of creating that vision is that we all think of muted beige, brown, tan colors of Tatooine, right?
It's important for the audience. It's continuity.
I follow this one Instagram page. It's a big page I want to give a shout out to, but Color Palette Cinema I follow. And that page basically takes screenshots from movies, and they just kind of take like a color, like the color dropper and like Photoshop, and they pick out the defining colors in a shot. And usually when you are creating a scene, you want to have a sort of similar colors, and if you want to portray something as standing out, you give it a very distinct color. Like if you think of like
a red shirt and a black backdrop.
Yeah, like that exactly. Like the red shirt's got to pop. The focus is there. Exactly.
You're popping off it like a motherfucker.
Or blending in.
Like let me pull one off the top of the deck right here because there's a lot of good ones.
Oh, I see. They have a whole palette.
Yeah, it's a whole palette.
Oh, that's
You're going to see a photo somewhere on the screen right now of what I'm talking about. But like Blade Runner 2049, for example.
Oh, yeah.
In those shots when the hunt for Deckard, there's like, it's all orange, right? It's all orange and yellow. But then there's like, if you bring out Joy was purple. And that's that's a distinct change. Right. So when we have Tatooine in mind, I'm going all around this, I know. But here we go, folks. Good. We're coming around here. When you look at Tatooine, and you have this, Din stands out because he is like this chrome, like chrome shiny. To a muted planet is like, you think of like wealth, you think of success, you think of like, this guy is like a god.
Somebody.
Boba Fett, green, red, yellow, black. Like, again, it fits in with the scheme.
Flat, it's matte colored.
And then we get the Vespas. And then we get these
shiny.
Go Power Rangers!
And we get the Spy Kids Vespas. And like, the guy that, the modifiers and that, the augmentations, that was cool. I like that. That fit perfectly well. But why the fuck are they dressed well? Why the fuck are they wearing, clean clothes?
They're struggling to afford water, but
we all hate those kids. I was just waiting for one of them to say, Tyrannosaurus!
All right, so when the guy does the 360 fucking spin shot, I was kind of out. At that moment, I was like, detached from what was happening. I was like, what the fuck was that?
It's just so jarring in a series that otherwise is so good in terms of its continuity and its setting. And you just throw this actual handful of shit at this nice like taking a Picasso painting and taking a fistful of shit you pulled from the backyard and launching it.
But the shit was Skittles.
Exactly.
No, not even. It's black because Picasso has a lot of color.
Can I make a counterpoint to that though?
Not yet. Okay, let me finish. So you have all of these. You have all of this, and it's really just this sore spot that I dislike.
It's glaring.
It is the only glaring thing in that series that made me go, "Oh, that's not right." Like
it does not fit.
All of the scenes that they are in, they have really poorly cut shots. The Vespa scene, like the chase in the streets in particular, it's just really poorly cut.
Slow.
It doesn't portray a dynamic scene. It's not fast. It's not action packed.
Squeeze that in there.
You could tell it's green screen. Like you can tell it's awful CGI.
So
do you think that they were so horrible that was worthy of a 2.2 point reduction? Or are there other things that contributed to that?
There's a couple other
things. So here's my thing.
If
my point stands that they were really only on the screen, I don't know. Somebody added up out there for us. How much screen time did these fucking kids have? All right, let's say 15 minutes in an entire season. Let's say.
That's Chris. What would be your score?
15 minutes an entire season.
Since you said masterpiece.
Hold on, I want to make a point here. Right. Yeah. So if you're talking about color palette strictly, you have 100% of a movie.
Yeah.
And if 85% of it is cream and beige colored, and
that's
you got 15% of color in
We're
it.
You're not even. You have no frame of reference here, Johnny.
You're not referencing my point, though. You're coming from a completely different angle.
You're like a child wandering around.
You didn't let me finish.
It's literally.
You guys interrupted me. I thought we're just
jarringly.
I'm just saying there's not that much color in it. If you got
that's not the point.
Okay.
The point is that when you put color on a bland screen like that, right? The attention is on that, and you are all focused on that.
It gives it more meaning.
And it is glaringly obvious when it's bad. So if they're going to be shitty, if they had, hunks of junk and it was muted, more muted, subtle colors, it would have been okay.
Very similar to an Anakin who fucking pieced together everything from the junkyard.
Yeah, exactly.
If you called back to those guys, those kids needing to still be a biker gang, whatever they are, fine. The whole theme of it's fine. But to your point, it's like color palette and technology.
They're
You
not
know what
as,
would've been a better
they're not as
execution
good
of
as they
that?
think they
But no,
are.
I mean, we're spending a lot of time talking
Well,
about
here's
it.
the
But
thing,
a
though.
little
They
overkill
never
here.
show them kicking ass really that much.
oh, dude, the
They're-
360.
however they want. Yeah, that's one shot. For however
And
much
the
those kids
sniper.
want to show off and do all these colors, they don't really make
So-
a good reputation for themselves. right?
Absolutely not.
They're driving fucking pretty slow Vespas, so it's not
You know,
like they're
you know what would have made that
ultra-futuristic.
better though.
No, it's just this. It's like when you put them on the screen with that color palette. If
Look
we're going
out
to
of
talk
place.
about colors, they're totally out of place.
Yeah.
And it assigns an importance to them where the audience should kind of key in and be like, "Ooh, what's up with these guys?" And then you don't really give them anything. You don't give them a backstory. You don't
just there.
give them any meaning. So all of a sudden, their importance visually is completely undercut by their lack of importance in terms of story.
The one girl too just felt so out of place because she's like, yeah, I'm a badass, and she has a pistol the size of my fucking hand. Like, you know, like
I have
say hand.
I
the
have
smallest
friends.
fucking pistol I've ever seen.
dumb as
And
fuck.
all of a sudden, she's standing in the middle of an alleyway, and she takes a few pot shots, standing there, and no one's shooting her. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, a little-
The size of my hand, Joe.
Well, it was noisy cricket. It was the noisy cricket. And then the guy had to trade his gun.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Thanks for the
And then
fucking
fucking
noisy
the fucking
cricket."
pea
And then
shooter. I guess I'll
fucking-
go fuck
Yeah,
myself.
here's my big rifle.
No, you know what would have fixed all of that? Like if they had no bikes,
Yeah.
and they were fucking just a gang,
Yeah.
and then when Boba fucking kills that biker gang, he could have given them those bikes, and then they would have
exactly.
no
There
biker
we go.
gangs. That would have been
Hey,
an
we're
easy
really good
fix.
at
Pay
we're
this
good at this
man.
though. We're good at this. We're
That would
good
have
at
been an
finding
easy
out.
fix.
To Chris's
Clearly,
point,
everybody hates these kids.
I
They should have
fucking
not
hate
been
them.
in it.
I
Yeah,
love
That
the
seems
show.
to be the problem.
I got
I
buddies.
would go further to say I would give this show an 8. If I gave
Yeah, I
Mando
would
a
say
9 or a 9.5, because you know.
yeah, and Nate,
Alright,
Nate's
so
fair.
Masterpiece was
Let's
too big of a
just
word.
Wrap up the conversation
Yeah.
with scores.
I'll-
7.8.
7.8.
Then
Oh, come on! I want to keep going about this. This is great.
oh fucking
I
So-
want to
I'm
go.
tired of the tricks for kids.
I have
shit.
something different from the kids that I do want to like. There's a lot of good imagery though. Like in the beginning when Boba comes out of like the sand pit,
got
in the
3
Sarlacc
minutes.
pit, he
Talk about the Halo ring. That was a great. That was a great shot.
that was a
Oh,
great
that's
shot.
awesome.
When he comes out of the sand, it's like Boba's being reborn. You know,
Yeah.
he's a different person. Which
The baby.
is a lot of the problems people had was that like, oh, this isn't Boba Fett. Like he's like the quiet killer, but in a way, Boba is reborn in this series. You know,
Yes.
like he is a new person, and a man
should
who's
have
been
died.
a quiet, cold-blooded killer for his whole life now has the world in the palm of his
He's
hands.
been raised by Tuskens.
It's like, well, what are you
Boba
gonna do?
game
You know,
Christian.
like he learned to love animals. You know, he learned to appreciate banthas and like
Appreciate his life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So like,
When you survive an angry sand vagina, you really have
yeah,
to question your ways.
It's, you know, it's like people that were pissed off about Boba Fett. It was unjust because like he's a new person now. Like it's a new life, and yeah, Tatooine's the city because he almost fucking died on it. He's got like an attachment to it now. You know, like it's justified. So
and
And that guy's even in it. Justified.
it's hard. It's hard to follow up. You know, you're doing a finale. You're wrapping up the story. You're doing your best. It's really hard to follow up an episode by Dave Filoni that's all about Luke and Grogu and the lore and Ahsoka and all of those deep, those things to the audience that are so meaningful. And then you kind of follow it up with a big bang and a show. And it's like, all right, it didn't have the narrative and the meaning that, as a Star Wars fan, I watch a lot of this stuff for. I love
Whoever
that.
built that one fucking wall.
But the Rancor looked good for a TV show.
Yeah, it looked
whatever you want to call it.
That was
whole
fucking
thing
badass.
looked awesome.
He came riding out on a fucking
it
Rancor
was
and
cool. It
killed
was-
the
I had
robot.
fun.
you would think though that they would be like, guys, you're running from this big fucking droideka thing, run straight at a light jog, like just. You'll be good. Like it
Come
breaks.
on, come
That's
on.
a
Come
part.
on,
that's
fuck
a-
off.
no,
It
that's-
breaks
you know what it is.
on.
I think
It's a
a part of that
magnifying
too is a
glass.
part of production and how the difference between, let's say, movie production and what's going on Disney Plus. I'm
It's
sure
just
they have
poorly
they have
done.
less time, less takes,
Yeah, absolutely.
less
I'm
everything.
agreeing.
They get
But
into the editing room and
all
they're
they
like,
have to do, all they have to do is go, okay, guys, sprint and like spread out, and that's it.
and
It's a good
hey,
cut.
It's Robert Rodriguez, so I'm gonna trust the man to say
Hey,
like
man.
he did everything he could. It was cool, but hey, the criticisms are worthy.
I
It definitely
think
is-
my criticisms are valid, and
no,
which
no,
is
no.
why I give it a 7.8 out of 10.
Vin, what's your rating?
I'm going 8. 8.
Going 8?
It was
Flat
cool.
score. It's a rookie number.
8 is his rookie number?
Well, hold on. I will see.
It's a flat score.
Calling it a
that's all.
masterpiece was an exaggeration. It was a masterpiece.
I could back it up
scale
with the 2
back a little
points,
bit.
too.
I'll give it.
1 point for
I'm gonna give it an 8.4.
8.4.
That's more of a professional score.
Now we got to
They
put decimal
developed-
fucking points.
Despite
It's a decimal
You said
point.
7.8.
It's a fucking 8.
You said 7.8.
Yeah,
You know what? One thing,
8.4.
Slave 1 wasn't involved enough. It was fucking cool when he came and took out.
Can't call it Slave 1 anymore.
Oh shit!
Yes, he
Whatever.
can.
It's fucking
Fire
fire
spray.
Fire
Bro, so get this.
I
It's
just
still
know it-
Slave 1, but fire spray is just the model of the ship.
Yeah,
Just
like
Fire
Freetown.
spray. And
Just like the Millennium Falcon is a Carillion freighter, it's a fire spray.
that's the
That's
truth.
it.
There we go. I like
Thank
that.
you, Rob.
So that was cool. It's funny in Mando they actually showed something that we never seen before, which was the inside of the cockpit or inside of the cargo hold of the ship when it goes vertical. Like little details like that in this series, I don't know, they kind of skipped over. They didn't go for the deeper things about Boba Fett, so that's why I say fucking 8.
I don't get why
An
anyone would-
8.1.
John, what
How's
do you give
8.1? Is 8.1 solid?
It's a
All right,
beautiful
8.1.
What do you give it, Joe?
Oh, sorry, kick the table.
7.9 is where I would go.
Okay.
with it. So me and Zach
That's a
are
pro
pretty,
fucking score if I've ever.
7.9. What I was kind of waiting for at the end when they had the last episode where it was like Mando and Boba Fett, I was waiting for like 80s like cheesy music like Tango and Cash. I thought that would have put it over the top.
What a movie. I don't think anybody knows what that is.
Tango and Cash.
Does Rob know what that is?
Cash
We're
and
talking about
sure it's
Sylvester Stallone and
Antonio-
Kurt Russell,
no,
right?
Kurt Russell, that's right.
That's
fucking phenomenal. movie.
Oh, what an 80s flick. It's so 80s.
What's your
It's
score,
crazy.
Rob?
I'll give it an 8.5.
Okay,
I'll
that's a
give it
strong
an
score.
8.5. It was a strong show. It was a Western. My dad and I immensely enjoyed the show. Cad Bane was fucking awesome.
Yep.
I have more good things to say about that show than bad.
Yeah,
That's a good
absolutely.
point.
And that's where I
Don't-
come from with
Absolutely.
that.
We can't let, to Chris's thing, you can't let the little shit
I never
completely
do. Like, yeah, I'll
affect-
gripe and I'll say this and that, but
Yeah.
overall, I
was a
couldn't make a
solid
better
show.
show.
The fucking
You know,
Cad
like-
Bane showdown.
Yeah.
Both of them, actually.
For what it was, super solid. Like,
How did they even get Cad Bane in there? That was amazing.
It definitely wet the whistle for
Yeah.
being away from Mando for so long.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
It's one
absolutely.
of those things.
I was feeling that way because Mando season 2 ended a while back now, and
Yeah.
I think we've been through COVID and all these things, so some of this stuff has been delayed. It re-energized me for Star Wars again.
I'm just
definitely
excited
can't
we're
wait.
getting good Star Wars.
Yeah,
in
Agreed.
concession. So
Yeah.
that's
agreed.
really good.
I think Star Wars is finding their success in TV shows similar to how DC finds their success in animated movies.
Yeah.
Where maybe the movies aren't serving the purpose that they should be.
Yep.
So they're falling back on what they're doing the best. And Dave Filoni is a master at writing these shows because he's worked with the man who created it. You know, he's the closest to the source material that you're going to get outside of George Lucas.
Which I think naturally brings us to the next piece of news that we were talking about before, which is Thrawn. You talked about their success in this Disney Plus format, this TV. To me, the one thing that we're missing at this point is a villain. You know what I mean? Like Mando and now Book of Boba. There needs to be a threat that will elevate this story arc to where it needs a movie. You know what I mean? I feel like
Credible threat.
yeah, somebody who is vicious, calculating, a reason to really like train Grogu to become the Jedi that he should or that we want him to. That may or may not happen.
I think it's going to happen. I absolutely think it's going to happen because there's no way Mando's going to not want him to continue his training because his
That's
training
right.
saved his life.
I thought the same thing. I thought, isn't Mando eventually going to come to this realization that he's holding back Grogu? He
be
can't
dead.
help Grogu become what he needs to become. I think this Thrawn news, and they haven't announced the actor. They kind of teased us. They showed another actor next to Thrawn, who apparently is actually the second in command to Thrawn. They have yet to announce who the actor will be, but he is officially appearing.
I think an interesting
Ahsoka.
way that they can go with the story, though, is that he doesn't get trained by Luke, but Ahsoka, because Ahsoka is a great Jedi.
On
So he
Mandalore.
will be able to embrace the Force, but not with the strict adherence that, well, you know, these are the reasons why the Jedi failed in the first place, because they weren't with the times. They were too stuck in their stubborn ways, and that's what ended up being the downfall of Anakin. Anakin felt like he had to keep his relationship a secret.
Yep.
It created a big snowball effect that ended up making him become Darth Vader because he was getting more and more alienated with the Jedi way.
Yep.
And Luke wasn't around to see that decay, so he's just
Kinda
sticking
going right
with
back
what
into it.
his teachers told him. But Ahsoka has seen how pompous the Jedi can be, and she's followed her own path. Yeah. And I think that Grogu would find more success under her tutelage and not under Luke's.
What wouldn't be funny if Grogu became a Mandalorian?
It's not impossible because
he's wielding the darksaber,
right? He's a foundling.
He's a foundling, so he technically is a Mandalorian.
He is a Mandalorian.
That's like that is an official.
He just doesn't have the helmet.
Calling it now.
But children also don't have to wear the helmet.
That's true. They did tease that Mando has to return to Mandalore to visit the mines.
That's what's going to be season 3 for sure.
So that's exciting.
But he's also going to be going there with the darksaber, and people are going to see that.
I have a question.
I don't think anybody's on Mandalore though. That's the thing.
It's possible.
Is Mandalore in deep space?
I'm sorry?
Is the planet or wherever that he has to go to
Mandalore
is considered the outer rim or deep
no,
space?
no. Mandalore is a primary, I don't know, not a primary planet, but it'd be more like a Coruscant or something it's involved in the innards. Tatooine is like, going out to the deserts of Mexico. It's like
almost in
no man's land.
The outer rim is its own beast, where it's like its own unique identity.
That's where Thrawn kind of originates from like.
His alien race comes from the outer rim.
Yeah, the Chiss.
It's interesting.
What's the name of their planet?
The Chiss?
Is it? It's not Chiss.
I don't remember.
Oh, I don't know.
I honestly don't remember.
It's above my head.
I'm actually trying to think now.
That was the one that was in the game, wasn't it?
It's in some of the
Fallen Order.
Dathomir?
No.
Joe's on the right path, dude. Fallen Order.
Fallen Order. He goes to like the ice planet and he gets like the crystal. From
That's the
Kyber, there's several ice planets. You got Hoth.
Is that Thrawn's planet?
Well, no. The specifically though, the Kyber crystals come from where the Jedi travel to get their crystals for their Jedi. I'm sorry, for their lightsabers, are on that snow planet. It's featured in Fallen Order, and they featured it in Mando Season 2.
I still see you again, Batman.
No, that's a desolate planet. I don't think anything lives there. It's totally
just creatures and
it's
the planet is called Rentor.
Rentor.
That's where just trying to see how Thrawn enters the scene, because if it's like Mando has to go out into deep space for something or deep out there.
Well, here's the thing. I've been trying to.
I'm really curious.
I've been trying to tell people, friends, everybody, watch Clone Wars, watch Rebels. Thrawn's.
I can't do it.
I'm telling you, that's where the story is. It's where the lore is.
It's hard to watch in the beginning.
It's not
too fucking baby for me.
Oh god, it's so good.
Rebels off that.
My attention span for cartoons.
Nah, season 1 is adolescent. I tried. In both. Skip season 1. Go to season 2. Go to where Darth Vader comes in. On Rebels, because he comes in season 2. The only reason I say this, and I've been preaching this, is because now we have the confirmation of Thrawn, and where is he gonna come from? You don't want to be sitting there like, where the fuck is this guy coming from? There is a whole backstory built in. I'm trying to think if Ahsoka and Thrawn have any interaction whatsoever in the animated series.
Tell us in the comments section if that's true.
Listen. But it's essential. It's a building block. It's Dave Filoni. Like, that's where he got his start. Clone Wars and Rebels, and now with Bad Batch as well. If you want to see Dave Filoni unleashed, like full lore, all the deep little nooks and crannies of Star Wars, you could go right to those. I was very much the same way. I did not really want to watch them. I watched a couple episodes, not interested. But during quarantine, I was kind of going for content. Disney Plus had them, and I was like, you know what, let's go with it. I heard it's a way better Anakin in Clone Wars than in the movies.
Well, it's
and it's 100% better, yes. And I hope that's the Anakin that they bring into Kenobi, because they're talking about a lot of flash. That was the next thing I want to bring up.
The last season in Clone Wars 2 is fucking dark, because that's Order 66 is like near the end of the season.
Awful to watch.
There's a scene at the end where Maul is like walking down the hallway of a Venator like flagship, and he doesn't have a lightsaber because he got taken in by Ahsoka and the clones before they turned. And Maul just says, all right, fuck it. And he just starts ripping panels off the wall with the Force and literally like cuts off a clone's arm and like gets him like stuck in a door and like decapitates clones with panels from the wall. Like it gets dark.
Darth Vader hallway scene. It's like
yeah, like Darth Maul at the end is like his entire plot in Clone Wars is great. Like it's not like the first season, like second season maybe.
How many seasons do I have to?
There's five Clone Wars with a sixth that they recently did just to kind of try to round it out. It got canceled or interrupted, like kind of midway 5. But there's all these great episodes of Yoda. So you actually, I think there's 2 or 3 that are dedicated just to Yoda post Order 66 or right before. So I think there's 6 seasons Clone Wars. There's 3 or no, actually, I think there's 5 seasons of Rebels, I'm telling you, you could skip the first season of Rebels just because it almost feels like, oh, this guy's supposed to be Chewie. Oh, this guy's supposed to be this. This guy's supposed to be that. And it seems like in season 2, they really found their footing for who the Jedi is that trains Ezra, the young boy who has like the Force sensitivity.
I didn't even watch Rebels.
Oh, dude,
And
I
Zeb
couldn't
is
even.
based off of concept art of Chewbacca.
So, I only. He is based off of it. Okay, he feels that way. That's how the
It's
character
either Han or
feels.
Chewie. I forget who the concept art was of, but he's based off of concept art from Ralph McQuarrie.
But it will definitely help inform Thrawn's what would feel like sudden appearance. Let's say in a show, in a physical show, live show.
If I know Thrawn, he's gonna want Grogu. And
Hell yeah, that's
gonna
what they're
be-
after.
100%.
It's
They're
gonna
after
be.
him.
But they already have what they need because they took his blood, and they're probably going to use his blood to bring back the Emperor.
Well,
Probably what it's going to be.
That's
I don't want to
fucking
go down that.
interesting,
I don't
dude.
even want.
That's fucking interesting, dude.
Well, here's the problem with that. Not the problem. In Bad Batch, they visit the cloning facility that apparently has all the Snoke clones or the Palpatine clones that they're trying to infuse Force, midichlorians into. So then some people are kind of
Midichlorians
theorizing
is no
that
longer
Bad
canon.
Batch and Grogu is going to be that piece that actually helps bring back Palpatine in the later movies. But the other theory is because Ahsoka is alive, we might be in an alternate branch of time.
Please with this shit.
I'm saying, hey, I don't know. I'm just saying what the internet's
Fuck,
saying.
multiverse.
So yeah, in Rebels, they introduced the idea of the Force dimension. It's
Tobey
like
Maguire shows up in Star
I'm
Wars.
telling you. Yeah, watch it. That's it.
Are you
All right.
saying there's a whole other galaxy and star system out there,
I'll
Hogan?
tell you what.
I got one other thing I just want to mention too.
We'll spend 4 hours on
Oh
this.
come
no
on,
problem.
Joe. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Joe's got to go home.
Listen, so
Okay,
to Rob's point, maybe Rey. I think Rob said this. Maybe Rey is actually a clone of
No more
Palpatine.
Ray, please.
That's what they said, right? That's official. That's like the whole wind-up.
Please.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Oh, we could go down that
We
hole
could
because
keep going
again,
down the rabbit
in
hole.
fucking Bad Batch, there's a young girl who's a clone. What's the cloner's planet?
Camino?
Yeah, Camino. The girl is from Camino. She has no parents. She's basically an assistant to one of the, the primary medical people there. And she's a clone, and she's Force sensitive, and she helps the Bad Batch, and so they are. It seems like
Isn't
they're
it clone
hinting at
baby?
all of this shit, and I feel like it's a retroactive way to try to make the trilogy movies better, if that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
They're trying to inform the newest trilogy with all of this in between stuff to try to make it seem like, oh, this does make sense. There is a reason Palpatine was cloned. Whereas I don't know if they'll ever make those movies good.
Well, they said that when
know.
the Emperor dies and that blue stuff rises up, that's actually
He-
him transferring his essence.
Yes.
And it floats through space and goes through several hosts before it ends
And it
up
damages
in the outer
him and-
rim. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're not going to ever write off those movies.
I really wish they would.
I think we should
but
just do that. Never
We'll
talk
just
about
write them
them
off
again.
forever.
I
and
personally
it's-
have.
I've
I just
yeah.
watched my original trilogy. And
I've
I'm
written them
happy
off
with that.
for the most
Yeah.
part.
All right, so we got the Thrawn tease, Ahsoka, can't wait. But I think the big one and the one that's coming is Kenobi.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there.
I have a wish list for Kenobi. I wrote like 5 or 10 things I hope happen. I don't know if anybody else has any
We're
expectations of what
jumping the
that
gun
shows.
all the way to May.
What do you mean? It's fucking February. What is it? February
What day
11th?
is it?
We're
We'll
just
already
doing
be there, bro.
predictions.
We're talking Star
Just
Wars
doing
here. We're talking Star Wars.
Star Wars, bro. If you're on a clock, bro, it's Star Wars. We can go all
You
night.
don't go,
All
I'm just
night
saying,
long,
because
baby.
they announced already. Then that
you
means
don't go
we,
looking for a job on a weekday dressed like that.
today's a
What day is it?
weekday. It's fucking
It's
Friday.
Yeah.
Shit.
But yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi. No, I can't wait. I can't wait to see like what kind of adventures Obi-Wan goes on. I can't wait to see if they bring like a Force Ghost Liam Neeson back for training
I'm
and stuff
expecting
like
that. Qui-Gon,
You
they
know?
teased that at the end of fucking.
I have a question. We're gonna have Hayden Christensen in this, right? Correct.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
in the timeline, he's Vader.
Yes.
James Earl Jones gonna voice Vader.
I don't know if it's going to be Vader in here. I'm
Didn't-
not
didn't
anticipating
he die?
Vader.
What?
Is James Earl Jones?
No, he's
still
not. I
alive?
looked it up the other day because I asked the
So
same
horrible
question.
Is he
asking
dead?
that.
No,
He's
he's
not
not
dead.
dead.
I
He's
feel like
80.
that was the thing they circulated.
not
on
dead.
the
He's
pod.
James Earl
alive.
Jones is alive.
So
yeah.
how could
Of
you
course he is.
have Vader and not have him?
Well, they
I
might be
didn't
doing
say-
flashbacks to Anakin, not necessarily.
I think it might be
Vader.
Clone Wars
Because Don't
Anakin.
forget, Vader
Yeah.
doesn't know.
We're not gonna
that
have an
Obi-Wan's on
updated.
Tatooine.
We're not gonna have an updated like Vader. In
Well,
this
they
one?
showed concept art of Obi-Wan and Vader fighting.
Absolutely.
If
So
they
it's
can
gonna
make
happen.
Obi-Wan might leave Tatooine to face a threat.
He
but
might
he's
go to-
not. He's not going to fight him on Tatooine because that will make him too close to Luke. And
Well, no,
Luke-
it showed
he
him-
would sense Luke.
The concept art
That
from
would
the
just
original
destroy the
teaser
entire purpose of A New
showed
Hope
They can make
Obi-Wan
Luke's
going to
voice
Mustafar.
younger.
Yeah.
Because I think it was My assumption is Obi-Wan probably feels the guilt eating away at him and is like, okay, I have to go deal with this now because this is a problem. Like I think in the comics or something, Obi-Wan's in like a bar on Tatooine and
But
sees
then that
like
kind of
Vader.
makes their conversation in Star Wars not make sense because
do
when
you
I
mean?
left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
A lot of that
Commander
happens. though. You
Tatter,
can
ship
see-
apart.
I want the
but
plans.
He still probably comes. He might go face to face with Vader and realize, oh fuck, I am out of my element now. There's still like
Unless
to
he
your
has like
point-
Force nightmares and shit. That
To-
would be more feasible. Is that
Yeah.
they'd
Did have those.
To his
He'd probably
point-
have to face the dark side or something.
to the point that I don't think the battle would happen on Tatooine. I'm almost anticipating something that Obi-Wan needs to leave Tatooine to draw him off the scent. I
Yeah.
feel like the Inquisitors are closing in on Tatooine.
There can't be an Obi-Wan Vader battle. There literally cannot be one.
I know what you're gonna say.
That would disintegrate the entire
No, it
purpose
wouldn't
of A New Hope.
because all it would need to be is he would lose to
It's
Obi-Wan
all-
again,
all
and
Vader
last time that
says-
they met,
it's
he
probably
lost.
a dream sequence. Like
no,
you
all
said, like a
Vader
Force
said, but all
dream.
Vader
How
says
not?
is this. All Vader says is like you're talking about A New Hope, right?
Yeah,
I haven't sensed this presence in a
Correct.
long time, right?
correct.
We'll fucking say when or how. I know what Rob's saying. When I was the Padawan and you were the master, but now I am the. He
Right,
wasn't
now
even a
I am
fucking
the
Padawan in Revenge of the Sith. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, he was a
a
knight,
lot of what
technically.
is said in that first movie, because unfortunately continuity wasn't a primary concern of George Lucas. He was like, let's just make this fucking movie and get it out there and pray to God it works. I think the rest of this, of course, we hold those original things as Bible.
I think that's why I find it
there's
so easy to
flexibility.
disconnect from these new movies because
There's a little bit of you have to be.
fit exactly.
Yeah.
kind of cut things to fit.
Yeah.
They
Ex-
do.
It's not a
Definitely.
perfect puzzle.
They didn't know this was going to happen. They didn't know they were going to spawn
in
a
fact,
$1 trillion
Star Wars,
shit.
the original Star Wars, A New
Standalone.
Hope, was the only Star Wars movie to be
What was
to
it
be
called
one
originally?
movie.
Star Wars.
Star
It
Wars.
was
Star
not A New
Wars.
Hope or
Star
Episode
Wars.
1.
No.
Or,
Nope.
so, you kind of, as an audience, have to at least give some creative flexibility and not be overly rigid with every statement made in a movie 40 years ago or 50 years. What are we talking, 45-year anniversary?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, as an
1977.
audience, what do we want to fucking see? We want to see Obi-Wan battle Vader. Like, beyond the little click-clacky New Hope one, I'd like to see a badass Kenobi
What about
Vader
Darth
fight.
Maul?
I hope they bring it
show,
back.
They show Darth Maul as what was that at the end of Solo after the movie?
Yeah,
Watch Rebels.
Solo, but they fight. They have their duel in Rebels again, and Obi-Wan just cuts them in one. Like it's
He
like
slashes
it's
him
awesome.
like samurai style.
All right.
That doesn't mean that it can't be like a
No, I
actual live screen.
I think
I
they
hope
should.
they
Kinda
do
like-
that.
Some
yeah.
people say that they shouldn't do it because they've already showed it and there's no point in showing the same
show
thing
it in a
twice.
fucking cartoon.
Well, I'd
Fuck
love to
that.
see
I
it.
want to see it.
Well, no, but that's it. I'm the
Any-
one.
any-
Rob is
any
quoting
reason
me
to
when
get
he
Ray
says
Park
that.
back on
Rob
screen?
is quoting
I'm in.
me.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to have another duel. You know what I mean? To me, it can't be on Tatooine because in the comics, in the cartoon, Maul finds out where Obi-Wan is and seeks him out directly, and there's that battle. There's a couple of very cool parts to that battle where first Obi-Wan, it's very quiet. It's a quick scene. It's a quick battle because it's communicating a couple of things to the audience. When Obi-Wan starts, he's in his style of battle stance, but he actually converts the stance to the Qui-Gon stance to beat Darth Maul in a single / samurai style battle. It's not a duel. It's not, Duel of the Fates and it's just Obi-Wan is at his peak, and Darth Maul, I guess you could say, is also kind of rehabilitated to his peak. And Obi-Wan cuts him. It's just like boom. It's like dodge slash. Obi-Wan kills Darth Maul, and they have like a quick.
You showed me that on a couple of weeks ago.
I think
That's
it might
beautifully
feel
done. Why
a little-
fucking touch it again?
It might feel a little disappointing because I have a feeling we're not going to see as much lightsaber as we want to see.
Always.
Because don't forget, Obi-Wan's in hiding. He's not advertising the fact that he's a Jedi.
Yeah.
He's not pulling out his lightsaber every 3 seconds.
Yep.
He's probably going to be more subdued than we want him to be.
He's almost going to
And he's going to be almost
restrain.
cornered into a situation where he absolutely has to act. And that's probably going to be the culmination of the season.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
We'll definitely go deeper into this. I know we got a ton.
Oh,
to talk
100%.
about
And all
in
this is
anticipation.
100% speculation. Because we haven't seen anything. We haven't seen any real trailers or anything.
This is just hype.
I'm glad my childhood is back because, like, this for me, this is my childhood of like Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen. Like, this was my Star Wars introduction in many ways, like where I fell in love with it. And Ewan McGregor recently had a conversation with someone in an interview where he said, the initial reception to the prequels was, like less than stellar, and he's like very aware of that. But he's like, it's just amazing to see now the impact, finally, the ripple that are like, what we did is now, that generation is now grown up, and like the love and the outpouring and the affection to the prequels now is like so evident.
Your age group looks to those prequels as their introduction to Star Wars. Therefore, they hold it as high as the older group who looks
Now
at the
your
original.
nostalgia.
Exactly.
Yes,
they don't look at
exactly.
it through the lens of like, oh my god, I can't believe fucking who's a stupid I'm sorry, who's in Phantom Menace there? Everybody hates.
Jar Jar Binks.
Jar Jar, yeah. It's Jar Jar ruins the whole movie. That's like Chris's point. Why let one
The
little thing ruin
magnifying
shit?
glass is always out, and people are always ready to fucking point their fingers as they.
It's not
sit
what
on
I
their
grew up
fucking
with when
throne.
I was
Sorry,
10.
I love the Gungans. Rob,
Gungans
give me
are
some
great.
boss
I gotta
ass.
kick.
You, son, or think you are better than we, sir? Is like this. Maybe we are being friends.
Like the giant trebuchets they had with those like big electric balls were like, yeah, those were so cool. Like that whole scene of like seeing like the battle. Because that was like the first time you saw something that wasn't like blaster fire being used in combat.
That's important. That's like it's cool to try to look through. It's better to try to understand these things through that lens.
Yeah.
where they're introducing this to a whole new generation.
Yeah.
And everything they've done so far has really, it's definitely re-energized me in the Star Wars lore, and it's bringing on so many kids. Like
I think too.
So many great voices
I know
in that movie.
everyone's probably gonna hate the sound of this, but in probably 1 or 2 decades from now,
Don't.
Ray and all them are probably going to become.
they're probably gonna.
Although to be fair, my niece is that generation, and she's like, I don't like these movies.
I am all the Jedi.
I mean, I like.
My niece is
it's-
9. She's
There
a
will
woman of
be
culture.
people that'll be like, "This was my introduction to the series."
Fuck those people.
It's the same loop though. Is that Star Wars fans will be
Luke
Star Wars
Skywalker?
fans, and they'll be toxic pieces of shit, and they'll hate everyone for having not following their opinion.
I got the greatest fan
There's just- there's just definitely
is going to win, I think.
there's a clear difference between what they did in the movies and what they've been doing so far with
Yeah.
Mandalorian and this new arc.
TV's been hot lately. We've been getting some fucking amazing stuff as
I'm watching
TV
Pam and
series.
Tommy. That shit is funny.
Like we've got Disney Plus just firing on all cylinders. You said you're watching what was it?
Pam and Tommy.
What the hell? What the hell is that?
Wow. Here we go with another generational
What
thing.
is it?
Pam and Tommy? It's not worth talking about on here,
Pamela Anderson and Tommy.
Tommy
Oh,
Lee.
was that
Tommy Lee.
the?
So he
that
was-
was recently.
Yeah, wow.
Pamela will be
this makes
mine.
me feel fucking old as hell. Back in the day, the sex tape leaked.
Oh,
of Pamela Anderson
Yeah.
and Tommy Lee. At the time, Pamela Anderson was at like the peak of her, her
Zach,
celebrity.
do you know what a tape is?
Yeah,
Of course I know.
VCR
I
tape.
grew up with VCR.
VCR tape. It leaked, and this is a whole backstory into how that happened. And it's fucking
with
whole
Seth
Seth
Rogen
Rogen's
and-
in it.
yeah,
We're
I saw
really
the trailer
talking
for
about
that.
Anyway, fucking hilarious.
I was just saying, there's just TV's just so good right now.
is.
We've got a lot of good. What are you watching now, Joe?
AEW Dynamite. Chris, did you watch?
Which part are you talking about?
Come on, man. The latest episode of Dynamite. Keith Lee.
Oh,
Whoop, whoop.
jeez,
Keith
yeah.
Lee. Whoop,
Is
whoop.
that so? Do you feel that lived up to your expectations?
Well, I
and
knew it
hype?
was going to be Keith Lee, so automatically I knew that it wasn't going to.
Right. You
But
did
it's still
call it.
really cool that they're going to take somebody who was fucking kicked out the door by WWE, and now he's actually become a big-time star in AEW, which has been really the course for any of the ex-WWE guys who are now in AEW.
You think they're all stars? I feel like there's too many stars in the night sky, and none of them looks brighter than the other.
Wow, that's so very
How about
sweet.
that?
It's Valentine's Day coming up. Why don't you
So
tell
many
me some more?
cooks.
Like
There's a
cooks in
lot.
the fucking-
Their cast is huge, and it's impossible. There's
What?
only so much time in
Come
the
on,
show.
man. Think about
Come on,
fucking
what?
the Attitude Era, bro. That belt that's sitting behind you. How many fucking stars did they have
When
at
this
that
shit
show?
was happening
The
on
Rock,
NXT,
Triple H, Stone Cold,
didn't watch.
Mankind, Kane, The Undertaker, Jericho, Kurt Angle, Rikishi. You need a fucking deep roster. That's the problem with the WWE right now. They don't have a deep roster to fucking
They
kind
had
of go
an
over.
incredibly
It's the
Seth
same fucking
Rollins
matches
over
in
and
every
over, okay.
WrestleMania. How
First
many
of
more
all-
times do I want to see Brock Lesnar versus fucking Roman Reigns? I've had enough.
You know, I was
Those matches suck.
I was watching something the other night about how the difference between, you know, like the Attitude Era, because I just got into wrestling in terms of just like enjoying.
You got the bug.
We did it.
You got the
did
bug.
Did it.
Yeah, no, it's good
My job is
content.
done.
But what content are you watching? Are you watching today or are you watching from 1998?
That I was watching
Right.
'98 Attitude
Yeah.
Era, and I was There was a comparison video between like a Stone Cold, you know, era, kind of like when he was in his peak, versus now, and the dynamic shots and like how they're portraying the stories, and like when Stone Cold hits a stunner, it's like a different angle and a different like
The whole room shakes.
yeah, but now I forget, it's this one really tall guy, and he does the same fucking move every single time where he comes off the top rope, jumps down, fucking slams into the mat, comes up, does this like, you know, he's like, "Ah," every single time. And it's the same exact camera shot with the same exact jump and the same exact reaction, like to a T.
It was more guerrilla style. Now it's more like polish and
yeah,
it's too real. It's too
overly
like,
produced.
I'm
true.
going to show you guys the clip
the guerrilla
after,
style
'cause-
of the Attitude Era. I think added to
Talking
the
about
charm.
Roman Reigns.
You're never gonna get You're never gonna get one of the superstars stunning the owner of the whole fucking, you know, the whole show.
driving,
and dumping beer on him.
driving a Zamboni into the
It's
fucking
so-
ring.
Dudley Boy's putting an
Godfather
old
coming
lady,
in with the hose and
It's
shit.
so difficult to
the Dudley
match.
Boys power bombing an old lady
The
through a table.
bikini match.
Oh my God, she was a champ. What was her name?
Mae Young.
Mae Young.
Mae Young was
Yeah.
a champ, dude. She.
Mae Young and
I
Moolah.
hope she's in the
Moolah,
Hall of
fabulous
Fame.
Moolah.
Mankind
birth to a
taking a
hand.
beating for fucking.
Good
like,
God
no one would do
Almighty,
that.
killed him.
No one could do that.
She was
Well,
in
That's
a
it, he's dead.
walker.
She
She's
went
getting
through the fucking ring, for Christ's sake. You can't script
that was like a 14. He took two 14-foot falls in the same
in the
fucking
same
night.
match.
And then that one time he fell on the fucking speaker system or whatever, the electrical
Royal
system.
Rumble,
Yeah,
yeah.
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 He was fighting the Rock.
Fighting
and it
The
was,
Rock.
Like,
Well, there's actually a really good documentary if you want to watch something really, really high quality from that era. I believe it's
Beyond
still
the
on
Mat.
Netflix. Beyond the Mat. It actually shows footage from that Royal Rumble match behind the scenes, so you can see like how gritty the chair shots were.
You see
and-
Mick Foley's family crying because
well,
they're
his little
watching
girl,
him get
who's actually
nailed
really
over
fucking
the
hot
head.
now.
like,
Anyway,
I
She
went to
is
high
great.
school with
Noelle,
her.
right?
I think we
Noelle,
talked
yeah,
about
I
it.
met-
went to
I met
high
her
school with
a couple
Noelle.
times.
You did?
I went to high school with Noelle. Yeah.
Oh,
I,
shit, that's
I was
cool.
a freshman and she was a senior.
She's a baby though in that documentary, and then she's crying. They had to remove her from the crowd because
She's
The Rock
worried
was-
about-
The Rock had Mankind handcuffed.
It was
behind his back,
gratuitous.
and he was just going to town on his head with a steel chair.
Yeah.
which is
How
one of
many
the
shots
reasons
was
why
it?
they don't do chair shots anymore. I don't know, at least 20
Oh, it
fucking
was like
shots.
11 or
Stop
something,
doing
I
the
remember.
chairs. Wow.
Well, they stopped doing the chair shots after the Chris Benoit story came out, and they tried to
CTE or something?
CTE.
Oh,
kind of
they're
issues
They're
and
very
things like that.
mindful.
They don't do
of
chair
that
shots
stuff
anymore.
now.
They don't do pile drivers. They don't do. They try to stay away
Oh,
from
the
choke
neck and the head.
slams, things like that. Or they don't
Everything.
call it a choke slam anymore. It's very fucking like.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
don't
they-
even say wrestling on the show. It's sports entertainment.
Wow,
They
okay.
can't even say fucking belts. You got a belt. I got a belt. He's got a fucking belt.
What do you call it?
They're championships.
Okay, it's a belt. I mean, it's in the
It's a
style.
fucall
It
belt.
goes around my waist,
It's a
right?
fucking
Why aren't you allowed to
strap.
call
Your
it a belt?
river.
This
It
is all
sounds like
Vince-
you're clutching your
this is all
pearls
Vince
to me.
McMahon-isms where he's turned the fucking tide on everything you grew up with, everything you loved about
Because his
professional
wife
wrestling.
decided to become a politician.
She's not anymore. She failed. Fuck her.
They're a publicly
They never went back
this-
and lost.
they're a publicly traded company.
Publicly
Yeah, that's
traded
true.
his
And
fucking
they have
son because his
sponsorships.
son's got more fucking brains than the whole fucking
They have
company.
sponsorships
They got
that
rid
they
of
have to
Shane.
take into consideration. Everyone hates Shane.
I think
Fucking love
Shane
Shane.
Put
You-
Shane in the
everyone loves Shane
AEW,
now that he's
dude.
gone.
I
Everybody
thought that was what
Money,
was. Wait, did we talk about that announcement? I
They
feel
got
like we
money.
didn't. it
What,
was-
that Shane McMahon is?
No,
it
no,
seems-
just the AEW kind of. I don't know.
Well, so
was
hold
Keith
on.
Lee.
I know
They were
nothing
teasing-
about
they were
this.
teasing-
About the
You know what I
AEW.
said?
I don't know what this is, but I heard it's like
it's more hardcore.
One day
Yeah.
we'll sit down.
It
and
was
we'll watch.
overhyped. is what it was. Joe, come on. Hold on a second. Joe, just me and you right now.
Why do you shit on everything
I'm not
like
shitting.
that's
Joe,
wrestling when we
one
talk about
question.
fucking Book of Boba? That's the masterpiece.
No, hold on.
I love
Hold on a
the
second.
fucking That's the masterpiece.
So answer me one
AEW
question.
is the
Shut
best
the
wrestling
fuck
that
up.
we've
Answer
had
me
for a
one
while.
question. One question. One question, cocksucker. One question.
This is the meat.
When you tuned in on Wednesday night, when you tuned in on Wednesday night, do you feel when you heard that the forbidden door was going to be kicked open and slammed the fuck shut, Joe? Act like you're looking me in the eyes right now, all right? Do you really feel that lived up to your hopes and expectations? You just said yourself, yo, well, I knew it was going to be Keith Lee. And then there was the other guy, I don't know his name, from New Japan
Jay
Wrestling.
White.
When I said to Rob, you know who debuted in AEW, I said Keith Lee. He said, who?
What did you
I don't
want?
want to be
Who
a
did you
dick.
want,
Yeah,
Bray
because
Wyatt?
if they weren't around
I mean-
the 90s or the 80s, I don't know who the fuck they are.
It's overhyped. And the reality is WWE is making more money than AEW. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
but they have a
so,
bigger brand and a more established brand.
Oh, they've been around-
AEW is doing pretty good for a company
AEW
that
has
has
been
been
around
around
for
for
3
What I
years,
love about
dude.
AEW, if this will make you happier, Joe, I'll massage them a little bit. What I love about AEW is that they're giving work to a lot of guys that Vince doesn't like people over a certain age.
Yeah.
He is always moving people out for younger people, which can kind of
Bullshit.
suck. But you know what? You get the Vince McMahon rub, and now you're going somewhere else with the rub.
You're telling me you don't
He
like
loves
Hook?
Vince McMahon. There's no.
I do love Vince McMahon. I look at Vince
the end
McMahon
of
as
the
a
day,
stepfather.
He loves Vince. And
I do love Vince
McMahon does.
Sweet,
is
you don't
sell-
like what they're doing?
The XFL was fucking awesome. This guy hasn't watched a stitch of football in his life, but the XFL was fucking tremendous.
That's right. Yeah.
You got
I
piss in
was
your
ready
balls.
to tune
You
into the
kidding me?
XFL for Vince
The
McMahon.
XFL was
And you know
awful.
what?
XFL. That
Well,
was
hold on.
doomed
And
to
now
fail.
The Rock took over the XFL.
Now it looks like they want to make the XFL similar to what you're saying about AEW, is like where
Jesus Christ.
some guys, some talents can't make it, or they end up in the Canadian
They
League.
fucking suck. That's why they don't make it.
No. It's not even that
about-
they suck. There's a lot of talent out there that can play football, but
There's no minor leagues. I get that.
I'm just saying, yeah, there's the NFL, you're talking about, what is it? It's 32 fucking teams with 52-man rosters and practice squad. You're talking about maybe, what, a couple of thousand people? Look how many... Well, yeah, that's where you get the best performances and stuff, but look at how many guys there are that go to school, play football their whole lives, and then they're done, and it's like, well, can't make it in the NFL. There's no other option. Got to go to Canada. At least the XFL would offer, hopefully, a decent... I feel like they went too corny, too WWF-y in the original XFL. You got to keep it
There's
more
too much gimmicks. They kept changing the rules. Then they tried to go back
There
and
are some things
standardize
though that
it.
the XFL
It could
innovated,
do.
like the camera that shoots down on the sidelines, and the one that goes right through, like the that's right on like midfield.
Yeah.
that one camera that was an XFL innovation.
That's what's
So
good
then now
about
the
that.
NFL implemented things like that as
It
well.
takes the NFL a long time to get approvals, to do things, to innovate. Something that's new and fresh. You're making moves very quick. You're trying to capture an audience. You're doing innovative things.
Their
so
games are supposed
it
to be
could help.
quicker as
It could
well.
help.
Listen, you talk about overproduction. You said that a couple times. You said that a couple times. The guys who left recently the WWE to go to AEW, that's all they talk about. They were significantly overproduced when they were in the WWE. As soon as they come into talent, to come into the show, they're handed a booklet that they have to fucking read from like 45 different freaking writers. Say this, say that. They can't be themselves. They can't put their own smack on their characters. And then when the match starts, they don't have this open canvas where they can kind of do what they want. They're restricted in this time frame. They can't do this move. They can't say that move.
Yep.
Now, AEW just takes the shackles off. They take the handcuffs off, and they just do what you want.
That
And that's
doesn't necessarily mean it's good.
Hold on, let me finish. That's what made the Attitude Era great, is that they weren't overproduced.
Yeah.
It's Stone Cold got to be Stone Cold. The Rock got to say whatever he wanted. He can lay the smack down as much as he wants.
You know the boundaries. As long as you're in them, you do what you fuck you
But
want.
now, as the WWE gets bigger and bigger and becoming more of a corporate entity, they've like restricted the wrestlers so much that you cannot enjoy them for being the talent that they are. So when you watch someone like Daniel Bryan become Bryan Danielson in AEW, it's like, holy shit, this guy's doing amazing shit. Why didn't he do that in the 10
What
years
are
he
any
was
of
in
them
WWE?
doing
He has
differently,
charisma.
Joe?
He has talent. He doesn't
Oh
fit
my God.
a template or some kind of
Even
free
CM Punk, who had really
construct.
great shit in WWE, Like, he's just on another level now in AEW, and that's what I'm looking forward to all these guys like Keith Lee who are now making that transition. The shackles are off. They're able to kind of do what they want. Like, Matt Cardona is another example. Zack Ryder.
He is a great
big toy hunter.
Yeah, he's a great
He's on the
example.
indies.
But
He's got his
he wasn't in
podcast
AEW.
going.
Nice.
I mean, he is on fire right now. To
fucking
what
great.
he's doing. And in WWE, he wasn't even booked. They would have him come to the shows, and he would just sit out the show, wouldn't do nothing.
And
He would go on
WWE's
toy hunts instead.
WWE's really good at like ruining good talent too. I mean, people like Santino Marella deserve more.
If you're not
gimmick,
Roman Reigns
you
or
know?
John Cena, you have no place in Vince McMahon's table.
Although Santino's doing well for himself, he's got a school now.
Can I ask a question, Joe? Just
Yeah.
to all that you just said. So, what is Daniel Bryan, or even a better example,
See the yes.
how
guy?
is John Moxley any different now that all of the chains are off? What has John Moxley's story or character been any different from
Huge,
pretty much
huge
what he was
difference.
as Dean Ambrose?
Huge difference. He's able to kind of go back into his hardcore roots. Some of the
He's
matches.
got more hardcore matches. That's
yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. But also his promos are fucking amazing. Like the promo that he had when he came back after being, having alcoholism and going into rehab. He cut probably the best promo of his life, and I encourage all of you to go watch it. It's probably about a 2 or 3 minute promo.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have happened on Raw or SmackDown because he's given a fucking template on what he can say. He's given a script that
this.
fucking guys are writing for him. They don't even know his personality,
Yeah.
that he can't speak from the heart. The reason you love JR so much is because JR just said what he wanted, and his passion.
That's not true.
came
JR
through
was
the script.
always overproduced by Vince McMahon and
He
screamed
was,
that
but
in
he
the
also
microphone
told
the entire
McMahon
show.
to fuck himself a few times, and he got
like,
fired for it a few
usually,
times.
he got
but
fired.
you can see his passion came through the screen on when he would like go crazy like
There's
that.
no question the man
How the
loves
fuck
his football, his
What's
barbecue,
lacking
his
in
wrestling.
WWE right now is that passion.
Yeah.
The wrestlers are just overproduced. They're not being able to
Shiny
be
turds.
themselves. They're shining up real nice.
They're all young
Turn
and
that
green.
sumbit sideways and stick it straight up your candy ass.
It's
Those
too scripted. It's too. It is the problem. The reason.
didn't-
No. Go ahead.
The reason that I never liked wrestling is because, to be fair, when I was like getting, when I was growing up,
Yeah.
it was the
John Cena era.
yeah, and even
Shit.
then, you like the reason I didn't like it is because you could tell like it's just fake. When I look at Attitude Era shit, it's like when
on
I
the
see
fine line.
when I see Bret Hart fucking jumping around the ring and doing his fucking acrobatics and like that, like
As
that's
someone
real.
who actually did wrestling,
Yeah.
went to college as a collegiate wrestler, and someone who actually tried professional wrestling. I got my ass kicked by Johnny Rods when I was 16. I was fat. It didn't really matter. I can tell you that the art of professional wrestling, what makes professional wrestling like stick out to you is a wrestler will do it as full contact as possible.
Yeah.
Make it look as real as possible, but not hurt the other guy.
like
If you're able to capture that, if you're able to throw a punch and you're looking at it as someone who hasn't seen wrestling, wow, he really smacked that guy,
Yeah.
but he didn't hurt him.
yeah.
That's professional wrestling
Like
in my eyes.
the Undertaker, his special move, what's it called? The
Tombstone.
Tombstone.
When he does it, I was watching him like do it every time, and I noticed like when he flips the guy around, he's got him in his thighs. The head is in the
tucks him.
thighs.
Right.
So when he comes down on his
His
knees,
hit.
it's just the
Paralyzed
knees.
the guy.
Yeah.
Somebody did
You're
get
seeing that
paralyzed.
already.
That
Stone
happened.
Cold,
Stone Cold,
got
yeah. It
piled
was
on
against,
in that fight. Owen
Owen
Hart.
Hart.
Well, that was a botch.
Owen Hart.
Yeah, that
Owen
was
Hart
a
went on his
jump
ass
stick.
instead of his
and
his
head
knees.
hit first before his ass.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was a mistake.
Broke
That
his
was
neck.
that was a tragic
So
mistake.
like watching those kinds of things, like when Stone Cold does a stunner, it's like he's grabbing the head but bringing it down. He's got it resting on the shoulder, so as soon as he hits, he lets go,
that's it.
and his ass is hitting the floor. So or like when you punch, like I do theater.
Fucking tailbone be broken.
So when I do like when I've like fight choreography, some of the things, or when you like hit someone in a scene for like a slap or a punch, what they do when you hit, your foot hits the ground when you're supposed to make contact to emulate the sound of hitting, which is what they do in the ring so much. Yeah, it's always when you see them punching, it's always it's like the full body
It's an
movement.
oversell because
But
Well, so you're talking about what they do too is when they kick people, they slap their leg to make it sound like they.
No, Vince doesn't want that anymore.
Right, but neither
Yeah,
does
well,
JR. It doesn't make sense. If I were to kick any of you guys in the head, it wouldn't fucking make.
Well, it's just to make that sound.
It's to make
but
a sound.
It reveals that it's fake
Yeah.
when you have them faking a sound and slapping their thigh. They call it thigh
There-
slapping.
and that's
It's
Attitude
a
Era
big
did it
debate
so
in the
good,
wrestling
where
community
I
right
always
now.
like when I'm watching that
Sweet
shit
chin
now. I'm
music.
like, they're physical. Like they're making the sounds that they should make. It's looking like full, real, movements, and it's not like half. Now I watch it, I'm like,
they produced a better show.
I
They're
see like
flippy floppy all over the ring, and they're doing all these stunts and acrobats, and it's just like you wouldn't do that in a fight. You wouldn't fucking do a 360 somersault plancha in a real fight. Like, that's just not practical.
Yeah. I saw
a little of that is good. A little of it has its place.
But it's overkill. The high spots are overkill.
Yes, it's definitely way.
I saw some old school Ric Flair, and he did a lot of that shit where he like run to the turnbuckle, climb it,
flip
run
over,
outside, flip.
And he would just do like
he was doing some crazy shit.
There's a great video you can watch. This Ric Flair flops, where he'll take a shot, and then there'll be like a 3-second delay, and he'll just face plant
down. Yeah, the Ric Flair
face plant.
That's
just a gimmick. That's just his gimmick.
Hogan did some like dumb shit at the end too, like when
I would fuck it up all the
when
time.
Macho Man won. I was watching this earlier. He won one of his big titles, and Hogan got pulled out of the ring from down below. And he was like, it was one of the tall guys he was fighting or something, and like, but you could tell like his punches were so half-assed, and like he's, it was like, and then he'd walk over and grab his head and try and throw him into the ring, but it was very much like a, like
there was definitely a time where
there was
the
a
quality...
phase in wrestling where the 80s was very cartoony, and they had these larger than life, Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, and then as you got older, similar to like we were talking about Star Wars, where you're getting like this jolt of like, the lightsaber battles are now faster paced. Yeah. So during the Attitude Era, the matches got faster. They got more
intensity
prettier.
Built up.
Think about watching this shit on a tube TV in 1998 versus an HD TV, 120 frame per second. You can see the fit, the miss.
It's
the
so
missteps.
real.
Whereas
that you
before
can tell
it was
it's a production.
blurred. It was like you couldn't quite see every little thing.
Yeah. I mean, I agree that it's definitely overproduced. We talked about this last week, so I don't want to harp on it. But I watch both. I think that both are good. I don't want you to think that I hate AEW. I don't. I'm happy that they give work to a lot of great stars.
Why not both? Like Taco commercial.
Well, I disagree. Both are not good. WWE is actually among the poorest it's ever been.
Agree to disagree to go fuck yourself.
What I need is for AEW to get even bigger, for them to go on Monday nights, and then for Vince to actually kind of be like, okay, this is real competition. And maybe he kind of takes the handcuffs off a little bit, and we start to see what this company can actually do when someone else is pushing them to the wall, a la WCW in 1995, 1996. But that's really great TV, wrestling TV. But Zach, you've been watching some other types of TV recently, so why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah. In my sabbatical, briefly.
Sabbatical.
Rob as well. We've been watching this cool new show called Critical Role: The Legends of Vox Machina.
What? One more. Sorry.
Critical Role: The Legends of Vox Machina. So. Let's break this down here real quick.
Man,
Critical Role.
That's a title.
Critical Role. Critical Role is a Dungeons and Dragons game. It is a live stream.
Oh, okay.
That is a very well produced live stream that is currently airing still. Critical Role is a company of a bunch of voice actors, and they're fucking great because it's basically you're watching a very highly produced game of Dungeons and Dragons.
They had Joe Manganiello on there.
Joe Manganiello was on there. Yeah,
that's fucking funny. He would be on there, dude.
Yeah, Joe Manganiello was on there. They had a one shot called Jocks Machina, because the CEO of the company, Travis Willingham, is like a jock. He's a football player. He was a wrestler. He's a big fucking guy.
He's me.
He's you. Yeah. Except he's not bald, but
go fuck yourself. Zach, it's called Let's Play a Game of Wait a While.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there too. Don't worry, honey. It's in the blood. Travis Willingham is a jock, and he's friends with Joe Manganiello, and they decided they wanted to get a bunch of big fucking guys on who like to just show like, hey,
what about Henry Cavill? They get him
to try to
on
break the
not yet.
The stigma.
He plays Warhammer. So even nerdier, but
he was talking about that shit.
Oh, that was
late
great.
night, and the host was like, "What the fuck is it?
Yeah.
Warhammer? What?"
He looked at him like he was an alien.
Yeah,
he was like, fine.
Just because they're rich and famous doesn't mean that they don't love nerd stuff.
Yeah, bro.
They love this shit as much as we do.
Henry Cavill built his own PC during the pandemic.
Yeah, he does a ton of nerdy shit.
He wears Warhammer like hoodies and has books on like his,
I think I would get along with him.
There are no fucking stereotypes. All the stereotypes are bullshit.
Jocks Machina was a good way though to really break the stigma of like you could be like a a fucking badass, and you could be like a fucking gym bro or whatever, and you could still be into this shit. Like, you know, it is in many ways trying to break down that barrier of this really old preconceived notion of like there is a divide, and like
the Revenge of the Nerds era is over.
Yeah,
Yes.
Critical Role has done a phenomenal job of really making the game what it is today, because they've shown how accessible it is, and being like, you know, this is the highest point of it, like, and people want to emulate that. You know, it is like backyard wrestling. You want to look like the fucking WWE. You want to be replicating that. So like when they see these voice actors and people who are, you know, at the top of their field in many ways, you know, like,
I feel like the resurgence of D&D, I mean, from my perspective too, is I haven't been into it before, but like Stranger Things.
Yeah,
I feel like Stranger Things helped bring it to like a mainstream audience where it was probably underground for the last 3 decades.
Yeah, 4th edition. There's a bunch. I'll go into a talk another time, but 5th edition, which came out in 2015, was really like the resurgence of the game. Is when it became popularized, because the rules became a little bit easier to follow.
Yeah. Okay.
Stranger Things was like, you know, oh hey, like, you know, it brought a lot of people back to the early days of playing the game and that nostalgia.
And when you explain it like, oh, it's like an acted out RPG or Skyrim, it's more relatable.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was probably much harder to get your head around. Like, what the fuck do you do? You're a wizard.
The brief lore drop on the game, I'll make it quick. The premise of it is that the name, like, Dungeon Master, of the person who runs the game, is that each person who ran the game had their own dungeon. Like, imagine if a dungeon in Skyrim, it was like, okay, Vin made this dungeon. So now it's your responsibility as the player. You're going to go through that dungeon, right?
I created the story. I wrote out the scenery, all the enemies.
It wasn't even a lot of that. It was mostly like,
Rob, because if he gets the key and he kills the guy holding the key, the whole town will be after him again.
Rob, you've had the key the whole time?
Fucking prick.
The Yeti fucking launches him.
Goddamn fucking wizard. I still hate that prick.
Wizard, Harry.
The dungeon master would create one dungeon,
Put your name into the
and
code.
you would run through that dungeon, and it was like your pride, because you kept working on it and building and improving it.
Like Sweet's Minecraft world.
Yeah, sure. And then eventually it developed
some love into that
wanting to be
I'm
more than
I'm
just
playing
a
Minecraft
dungeon.
again. I'm sorry. I
We'll never see him again. He said he's dead.
I have been playing again.
They wanted to make it
Probably
more
while
of
you're
a
not
story,
on Halo, thanks.
and that's how D&D has developed into what it is today. But Critical Role is the pinnacle of that. People want to replicate and emulate that kind of energy and professionalism and like that quality. So since they're a bunch of voice actors and people, I think they were like the #1 earning account on Twitch based on the leaks. They made, I think, $9 million in just subscribers and bits in the past 2 to 3 years. Damn. And that's just bits. That's not counting donations and funding and
alternate promos, and different channels.
I have a buddy who runs a smaller company. Not going to say the name of it because I do work with them.
Oh, they don't want their name.
They'll be for another time. Nah, don't worry about it. It's private. I don't know if they want to divulge that.
To our massive audience, shout out to you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you all 5 people.
Tricky Ricky.
Hey, it's 236.
Anyways,
It's a big number.
They wanted to reach out to Critical Role at a point where they were in their, they were like growing, but they weren't their own independent company.
The hundreds.
At the point, or no, they just became their own independent company. And for a brief ad promo, like I think a 30-second ad bit of time, they were asking, I believe, $35,000. So
awesome.
that, like, they're getting sponsors from NordVPN and like Squarespace, Express, you know, like they're getting all
Here's
these
30 grand. Go ahead.
30 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, like
serenade.
forget about it. So they're making a lot of fucking money. And they're like, well, people love this, so let's make a show. We're fucking voice actors. We fucking hire ourselves, you know?
Imagine that.
Produce our own.
They were one of the most successful Kickstarters of all time. They made over tens of millions of dollars off of it. I think maybe not. It was like $11 million or something crazy of, you know.
Like, shit, what do we do with all this?
Yeah, no, they were,
It's like-
their goal was $1 million, and they broke $1 million in the first hour.
All right, so just so I understand this, now this started as a Twitch live stream of some famous voice actors who are playing out a D&D scenario. That's cool.
A story.
A whole story arc. And now it's evolving into a full-blown...
It's a cartoon show. It's on Prime Video, and it's
Amazon.
based on their very first campaign.
Yeah.
So it's an
And
animated
the people,
thing about...
and what's
their-
cool
That's
is the people, the characters in the show are being voiced by the people that played those characters in that stream.
That's neat.
So they're playing themselves.
Yeah,
That's a crazy way to produce a piece of content.
I just got an idea.
They dropped the first 3 episodes at the same time. Now they're releasing, I believe, weekly episodes.
3 at a time.
My dad and I checked out the first 3 episodes. Really funny, gory. You know,
it is
kick-ass.
good.
It is unabashedly like they're like, this is adult content because that's what the show is. Their stream is like, this is adult.
They got
content.
a bard that fucks everybody. It's great.
Yeah, they're like they start the show
That's
by
me.
like they start the show.
That's
Fritz.
They
We
started
played
off
D&D,
I'm
Harry,
gonna
too.
be the bard.
His nipples pierced.
Only one's
think so.
pierced now.
the
Only
bar-
one?
Oh yeah, I had to take out one of my nipple rings.
He has half the piercings.
We
he
can
had
talk
to-
about it on the
Christ.
show if you guys
Totally
don't know.
clipping this part.
Jesus
If
Christ.
anybody wants to talk about piercings, it's a whole thing. You know, when you get nipple
I did it
rings,
once.
they never really actually close.
No, no
No, I
one in
know
this
they
room
don't.
knows what that's like, Chris.
I do. I do.
Now you
Continue
know.
to tell- ew.
the
I
bar-
had my
it's-
left
the
eye.
show starts off where the barbarian cuts off some guy's arm, and the bard is fucking a girl in the room upstairs, and it is like they just throw you into it right away, and they're like, "You're gonna fucking love this." Like
Oh, they
this
break
is,
that barrier down.
oh,
real quick.
they're like, "This
Okay.
is not a kid's show,"
And it's fun. It's a
Smart.
fun show.
It's fucking great.
You know, they did a good
Jesus,
job.
say it again. What's it called?
Critical Role.
Critical
Jesus.
Role.
The Legends
Okay.
of Vox Machina.
I see, but it's basically called Critical
Vox
Role.
Machina is like the name of their guild.
It's the name of
Vox
it's the name
Machina?
of the party. Yeah,
Gotcha.
Vox Machina.
I'm gonna
It's-
keep asking.
It's okay. It's the name of the party.
It's fine.
And yeah, no, I think you guys would like it because it is an adult show. It's not like kid friendly at all. It's very much like gory and like fucking raunchy.
If you're into
and,
like fantasy and like, you know, like but like you know, adult like level, like
Yeah.
not like, oh well, this is kiddie and this is
Yeah.
artsy, you know, cutesy fartsy and
Yeah.
rainbows
Not
and unicorns. No, this is like warriors and
Demonic.
fucking like killing people and
Satanic shit going
sex
down.
and fucking everything. It's got a
Satanic
little bit
black
of everything.
magic.
and, you know
Papa
the,
Shango shows up. No,
the stream itself too is great. It's highly produced. They're on their 3rd campaign now. Vox Machina.
and granted, I'm not a huge like D&D person. I enjoy playing the game
Yeah.
and stuff, but like even I've heard of Critical Role. Like,
Yeah.
it's very big in the geek community.
Yeah. Vox Machina was the first party. They're on their 3rd campaign now, and for a live stream game of Dungeons and Dragons, I think they put like over $3 to $5 million in just their background for their latest like campaign.
shit.
They have a studio built dedicated to this. Like it's crazy.
I remember years ago, I think like whatever, maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, I remember it was either a Cribs thing or something with his wife, with Joe
Manganiello.
Oh yeah,
with-
he has
with
the
Sophie's-
Sofia Vergara.
Yeah.
he
So
he has like full size monster statues in his basement.
Yeah, he had that
turned
whole
his basement into
dungeon.
the dungeon.
Yes,
and
they
he
were-
and he does apparently he hosts like celebrity games with like Vin Diesel.
That's what I was
and,
gonna
like,
say.
people
He's
like
got
that.
mad famous people coming over. He's hosting these D&D sessions in his like themed basement, and yeah, I just when I
like
saw
this
that years
basement.
ago, I was like, get the fuck out of here, this guy.
yeah.
So it's so funny.
I'm like technically I'm like one step away from knowing him
It's
because
like Joe doing D&D. I'm like, what the fuck?
he Joe Manganiello is a friend of the company that I work for.
Oh, really?
And
Oh, that's
so
cool.
He did like a brief like snippet, and he always visits their booth when they go to Gen Con and everything.
I
and,
saw
like,
him at,
no
at
shit.
New York Comic Con once.
Yeah, I'm like one step away from everyone in this community, but I'm like just far enough out of reach where I haven't met them yet. But
Shit.
one day I will.
What the hell was he in? Was he in True Blood?
Yes, he was. He
That
played a
was
werewolf.
that's right. He was Sookie's other fucking boyfriend. in there.
Suke.
I thought he's
That was a great
he's
show.
cool as
Bless
fuck.
you.
That was a good
He
show.
was in
That's
the original
underrated.
Spider-Man too. He was Flash in that opening scene.
He was Flash Gordon.
Oh,
yeah.
that's right. He's Flash. He fights.
I wouldn't want to
Toby.
fight. I wouldn't want to fight me neither.
Yeah, when Toby catches all the
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. You
That's
guys,
it.
Suicide Squad?
No, the original Spider-Man.
No.
Oh yeah, he's
he's
Deadshot.
Deadshot.
No, that's
No.
is that Will Smith?
Will
No.
Smith was Deadshot.
he was
Deathstroke?
Deathstroke. Was that an arrow though, or was that no? That was an arrow.
He had like silver hair. He had like silver hair or something.
Yeah. He was Deathstroke.
I forget what he was Deathstroke in.
He's just fucking cool. Watch him.
Honestly,
whenever
I
you see
haven't,
him.
I haven't
fucking
watched a whole
sucks,
lot of
but
Was
DC.
it Deadpool?
No, not
No.
No.
Deathstroke is actually Deadpool was made as a parody of Deathstroke. Funny enough,
Right.
Came out around the same time.
The reason I say that I think you guys would like it though is
Wade Wilson,
because
Slade Wilson.
the character design was made by the designers for Batman Beyond, and like that it's the same kind of design style, and they're very like they have that very similar design.
Animation style.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think you guys would like that. But
Speaking of Batman.
yeah,
Just
speaking of
said
Batman.
Yeah, I said DC. You said Batman Beyond.
Speaking of Batman.
How'd those tickets go?
I am vengeance.
I didn't fucking buy the tickets this
I am
time.
the night.
Oh, you bought the tickets.
I
Rob bought the
am
tickets this time.
Batman. Yeah, I bought the tickets. We're going to March 2nd.
So we're going the day
It's a
before,
Wednesday.
actually, the true premiere, right?
Yeah.
We got like a
Yeah,
special.
we're
Can't
going-
wait. I cannot wait for this.
How'd you pull
Dude.
that off?
So I was on Fandango. I went on the website
Fandango.
and showed the earliest that you could possibly buy a ticket was March 2nd. It was in select theaters for one showing only on that day. It was
Recliner
at 7
seats.
o'clock. Recliner seats.
Big.
All bougie and shit.
Nice.
And then, and I guess like that's when the regular theaters get it. It would be the next day.
Rob, let's start with you.
Thursday.
Give me your favorite Batman.
Animated series, hands down.
All right, so Kevin
that doesn't
Conroy.
count. That can't count.
It has to
I
count.
talked to
yeah.
Eric
Oh,
about
fucking
that. I
counts.
talked to
It's
Eric.
my favorite
counts.
iteration
That's
of
how do
Batman.
you how do you over how all right.
So I mean,
I'm
he's
thinking
in
movies.
he's in video games. He's in a cartoon. So Kevin Conroy, animated series Batman. We already talked about the stash that you have in the attic of the new animated series figures. I can't wait to see those.
Your little plastic collection.
And your favorite Batman motion picture.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
that's rough.
original Batman.
1989.
89? Michael
Batman,
Keaton?
Michael Keaton.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I grew up on that. So
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Zach, how about you? Favorite Batman and favorite
Conroy.
Batman movie? Okay, that's 2 for 2 for Conroy. It counts.
And for motion picture, I mean, I'm just gonna go based off the trailer. Pattinson by far.
Come on, you can't say that yet.
we haven't
We
even
didn't
seen
even
the
see it
fucking
yet.
Watch the movie.
Like I said, this is my preliminary.
Zach, do I have to rephrase the question?
Please let me elaborate.
Batman motion pictures
That you've
that
seen.
you've seen
Oh, okay.
already.
that
All right.
exists.
Oh, there we go.
Well, you grew up with the Christopher Nolan series.
I know it's
That's
totally
why-
different. I'm
Pick
thinking
one.
about this like
Pick one.
You know
for
what?
forever.
I have a fondness for
Bat
Clooney.
nipples. Oh no, he picked
What
bat
killed the
nipples.
dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
That was also what I grew up on. Was Batman and Robin.
Camp,
I used to
yes,
see you
yes,
again, Batman.
yeah.
White Christmas. I missed the snow.
We were-
Val Kilmer was a cool Batman, but I don't know. George
That's-
Clooney was like the Batman I originally watched. Besides the Bell,
There's
You're not sending me to the cooler.
a great Val Kilmer documentary.
yeah.
I highly recommend it.
I gotta watch that.
It's on Amazon.
It's
And
boiling
it gives,
acid.
it gives some really good insight into Val's perspective of playing Batman, the character, his expectations, and then the shortcomings of being the character. So I really think there's a good introspective view of what it is like to play Batman, especially under that style,
Yeah.
where I feel like the more modern ones...
Who directed his movie?
Go on.
Winter has come at last. Everybody,
It's boiling acid.
Was
I'm gonna send the bat and the
go.
bird into an icy
We did this on
grave.
the other episode. It doesn't work good.
Chill out.
Chill out.
um
Nice to see you again, Batman.
Nice to see you again.
who directed the Kilmer series? Was that
Joel Schumacher.
Schumacher.
He did the first two. Val
very,
Kilmer.
It was very jarring. The animation, like the CG in that was like
Just the whole style was so bad. The neon. They went
Ooh, the more I get
neon
of you,
heavy with,
stranger, it
talking to
feels,
himself.
yeah.
Do their thing.
Now
No, go
that
back to
your
them. Don't fucking cut to
roses
the-
in
cut to that.
bloom, a light hits the gloom.
Seal.
on the
This one's for
grave.
Joe.
Ba-da-da,
This one's for Joe and Jorge out there.
da-da-da,
Miss George.
da-da-da.
Oh,
There's so much
yeah,
of-
young George. No longer so young.
so. Yeah, Conroy and Clooney. You've been.
You like the George Clooney? I thought you said the Kilmer. I'm
Batman
sorry.
and Robin.
said
He
the
picked
Clooney.
Batman and
Oh,
Robin.
okay.
That's
Oh,
it.
You
then
picked
he
bat
started
nipples,
saying
man.
Kilmer's a close second.
That-
Yeah, the
nipples.
nipple suit. Good
Yeah.
idea.
It's like the worst.
Good
Too
idea.
bad those nipples aren't pierced, right,
Like a
sweet?
German sausage. It's the
I
worst.
don't know.
It's like the tip of a kielbasa. Just
Christ.
Does that suit has tits? What's
It has
does.
tits.
nobody thought about it?
Alfred
I have
had
tits too, Greg. Can you milk me?
Alfred
bat
had
tits.
Batgirl's perfect dimensions. Like,
She
oh,
also
yeah.
had frozen
Alicia
nipples, too.
Silverstone.
Alicia Silverstone was
Whoa,
cute
yeah.
as
Killed her
shit.
career. Chris
It did,
O'Donnell
it hurt.
killed his career.
It did. It really fucked them up. It fucked them up. I see her on
That's it.
TikTok. And
George
I'm like,
Clooney,
oh,
you
shit.
never seen him again, and that's it. He's dead.
George Clooney.
What about you, Vin?
Vin, kick it
I
off.
mean, we're
Literally killed Alfred.
Yeah.
Literally.
famous. I'm sorry. my favorite fucking Batman.
Yeah.
If you're gonna include the animated series,
Everything. Any
he's
Batman.
the best one. Kevin Conroy's got the best voice.
Harvey.
It's the best suit.
Well,
He's
he's
the best
the best.
Batmobile.
Okay.
Like the
Well, what's your
anima-
favorite though? Is that your favorite?
It has to be. I mean,
Okay.
shit. But it
Motion picture.
thinking about Michael Keaton kind of setting the tone. You know,
Batman.
I grew up with that fucking movie. Him and Jack Nicholson. I watched that fucking.
Wait,
theater
ever
till it
dance
burned
with the
out.
devil
I
in the
remember the
pale
Diet
moonlight?
Coke fucking.
get those wonderful toys?
Do you remember the Diet Coke commercial
this
before the
I
movie
like this one.
with Alfred? These fucks.
Sorry, the Diet Coke commercial.
Fuck
It's
it.
the
Who cares?
Diet Coke.
Do you guys remember that or what?
Yeah,
Jesus
absolutely.
fucking Christ.
It's the beginning of the tape.
Thank
absolutely.
you. I thought I was talking to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris
It's
is
the
like, what?
Diet Coke.
Yeah.
No, I remember it was Alfred with the Diet Coke.
Yeah.
And now Michael Keaton kind of set the tone for what Batman was going to be.
Did you give your answer yet? I'm sorry.
I don't fucking know. You guys are
You
over
said
there
Kevin
talking.
Conroy, right?
Me and
That's your-
Zach are talking over here. You guys are talking over there. We're good.
This guy's looking.
We already
that way,
had
that
Chris
guy's
has the
looking this
convo.
way.
He'll edit it. We'll figure it out later.
Do it in
Do
post.
it in post.
Yeah. well, now it's somebody else's job, so it's fucking even easier.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry. Let's give you an uninterrupted answer. Favorite
I don't give a
Batman.
shit.
Favorite motion picture from
No,
the
yeah.
Batman that you've seen.
Animated series, Batman's the best
Kevin
Batman.
Conroy. That's
Period.
three
End of
Kev-
fucking
Conroy.
sentence.
He wins.
Best movie.
Yeah.
It's The Dark Knight. I think The Dark Knight is the standard for Batman movies.
Okay.
The only problem with The Dark Knight is that it doesn't have Katie Holmes. I think that is the only thing in that movie where there's a moment that's supposed to have an impact on the audience, where you're supposed to really care, especially for what Bruce Wayne's going through.
Where's Rachel? Where are the other fans
Yeah,
going?
where's Rachel? You almost don't fucking care because it's Gyllenhaal instead of Katie Holmes, and that's Tom Cruise's fault.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
Dark
That's
Knight
a
to
great
me,
movie.
because of Heath Ledger's performance, the
Oh,
Joker, it's just
Yeah.
such a fucking stellar movie, a thriller. It's hard to beat. I
Yeah.
love the original Batman though. 1989 Batman's probably the best. It's Tim Burton.
Yeah.
It's
The Danny
it's-
Elfman soundtrack.
Yeah, so good. What was the other part of the question? Was that it?
That was it.
That was it.
All right, well, I answered 4 times. So,
Chris.
hey, Chris, let's talk over you.
Well,
Give us what?
Yeah, all right.
So
let's
let's
see
see
how
how
far I
fucking,
get until one of these
yeah.
cocksuckers start screaming
So
at
let's get back on Vox.
Who played Catwoman in the third movie?
Michelle Pfeiffer.
me. We didn't even get started.
No, I know.
The Bell
I was-
trilogy.
Yeah. No, you pretty much said everything that I was. You pretty much said everything I was gonna say. So I'll keep it short and sweet. What I will say is I didn't really grow up on a lot of Batman. What was on when I was a kid, like late at night when I was staying up watching cartoons, was I don't know if it was Batman Beyond, where it's like the new one.
The futuristic
And I'm
one?
not saying I loved it. Don't get me wrong. It's like futuristic. I think it's a new kid is like a new Batman.
Yep.
But what I like in it is seeing the old Batman. I'm pretty sure he's like one of the main characters in that. It's like
That
an
was
old Bruce
Old
Wayne.
Bruce Wayne.
And
was a big-
I thought that was just cool to see, like an old. He's always pissed off
It
looking.
was sick to
grumpy.
hear and it was sick to see. No, you know what was really cool though? They did a crossover with the Justice League Unlimited, where they actually brought like the regular animated series Batman
Yeah.
to that future world, and he interacts with old Bruce Wayne.
Oh,
And he's
shit.
like, I can't believe I was ever that green. And it's funny because like you watch like Batman do his thing and like Bruce Wayne's doing his thing on the computer, and then he has to get answers. So he's gonna go off and do his own thing, and they're like, you really don't know your way around this world or how it works. He's like, are criminals still superstitious and stupid? And he's like, yup. He's like, that's all I need. And then he goes off and he, like immediately like beats the shit out of like the current Jokers. And he has them like hanging off the edge of a building and shit.
Nice.
Like it's great. He's like, this is how you interrogate a guy. And then what's funny is now regular Batman has to play good cop because Bruce Wayne, old man Bruce Wayne, is beating the
Vicious.
shit out of this Joker dude. He's like, this is how you interrogate someone. The guy, this next scene is he's spilling the beans about everything.
So good.
A more jaded Bruce Wayne.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I have a special fondness.
That's
for
your
that
favorite?
One.
That's number one?
No, I mean I'm still gonna say the best movie was what Vin said. Dark Knight.
Best Batman, period.
Your favorite Batman movie. So you said Dark Knight.
I still would say maybe Christian Bale, but I got a soft spot for that particular Batman, the old man Batman.
To Joe's point about that question, though, there's a difference between the best Batman and the best Bruce Wayne. That's a big. I think.
Okay,
I think
we can go there at some point, but
no, it's not
that's
important.
completely.
I think,
But
Michael
it's two
Keaton was the
characters.
best Bruce
When you're
Wayne.
an actor playing this.
Was it Kevin Costner who?
No.
Who's the one that's always
Val
doing
Kilmer.
Val
the
Kilmer.
lips?
Val Kilmer.
Pursed lips.
He's always got the pursed
Val
lips.
Kilmer
like,
and
that's Val Kilmer?
also Michael Keaton.
I think
Val
it's Michael
Kilmer. You
Keaton.
know what?
It's Michael
You want a
Keaton.
tiny bit of insight into that?
Yeah.
Val Kilmer explains when you have the bat suit on, it stops you from being able to act. You can't, as an actor,
because you're like,
you are claustrophobically trapped in the suit.
Yeah.
And
This new suit though doesn't look that way though.
no,
It's,
they've
very
learned.
clothy, very like,
it's more refined.
yeah.
What are your Joe? What are your hopes for this Batman?
I don't want to give my answer yet. There's a
Oh
question?
shit! I'm sorry. Yeah. Go ahead,
He
man.
didn't give
My
his
bad.
answer.
I'll just go fuck myself. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, hey, talk over me.
Throwing
Fuck
it
your
to you
answer.
either way.
Typically, what happens when we do these things anyway?
This
I
is
just
the go
I
fuck
go,
yourself
I go
podcast.
fuck myself.
I fucked myself earlier. It was okay.
Just throwing it your way,
This is
regardless.
5 guys fucking myself.
It's either me or it's you. It's okay. You know,
Yeah.
we're in the
or it's
same boat.
Chris.
Favorite Batman? That's an easy one for me. 1966, Adam West by far.
Wow, Jesus! You're just gonna go classic on us?
Well, I grew up with that. Coming home from school every day, that was on 3 o'clock. As soon as you came home, nice big bowl of crunch berries with the.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah, there's actually like toy hunts. We've been doing toy hunts.
Come,
There's
Robin,
the
to the
McFarlane
Batcave.
figures just came out with 1966 Batman line, and they look phenomenal. So I will be hunting for those the next time we go.
Let
out.
me know if you see a Joker.
There's a Joker. There's a yeah, absolutely. There's a Riddler, a Joker, a Batman, a Robin, a Batcave, a Batmobile.
The
I have
Batcave looks
I
cool.
have the Mattel ones that came out probably about 6 years ago. I have the whole line. I have the Penguin. I have Catwoman. I have all of them. But these are articulated a certain way, and they have a little bit more realism to it. They look
Nice.
very, very good. Favorite Batman movie? I mean, that's tough. There's been so many good ones, and even the bad ones. To your point, Zach, I still love Batman and Robin for
Yeah,
the cheesiness.
I'll watch it. I'll watch
I
it.
still love Batman Forever for I thought Jim Carrey and
Oh,
Tommy
he
Lee
carries that
Jones,
shit.
they did an amazing job as
It's
the
so
villain.
you and so
I mean, and Danny DeVito too. Gotta give him
so
credit.
Well,
that's
that's
yeah. So
that's
my
Batman's
favorite
right.
Batman movie is one of my favorite Christmas
we
movies,
don't have blood gushing from my face.
Okay.
which is Batman Returns
Wow.
from 1992. Yeah.
Okay. That's that's Sam's favorite too.
Kyle
Yeah, it's got your boy. I just watched it recently actually.
Oswald Cobblepot.
You know what my only complaint with that movie is? Is it feels a little claustrophobic. Like it's a movie that feels like it was done on a set.
That's a Tim Burton movie, right?
Yeah, it's
that's
the
a very
second
Tim Burton style.
It's
Yeah,
the
it's
second
the
Tim Burton
movie.
and it does have that
Like a
same.
stage.
Whereas in the first one, Tim Burton movie, when they go to the chemical plant
parade.
and the parade, yeah, it's a little bit more open. Whereas Returns
understand
really
that. I
feels a
understand
little
that.
claustrophobic, but
Yeah.
Although Michelle Pfeiffer,
smoking.
She fucking. I love seeing the BTS of the whip scene where she nails all 4 of the mannequin heads in one take, and that's her like the only take. The first take, she whips all 4 of the heads off and just get the whole like backstage scene just.
and then she
erupts.
just like improvises like uses as a
jumping
jump rope.
Yeah,
Oh, that was
scene.
improvised and
That
shit?
was improvised.
and the whole.
Now I don't know
crew
if she actually hit all
applauds it.
4 heads. I think they had a mechanism that made the heads fall off, but she really whipped that shit around.
I think she hit all 4 because you see them recoil after she.
I've heard multiple stories. I'll have to do
Yeah.
a little
I've
digging
only
to find
watched
out
the
what the
one
truth
clip a
is.
few times to look at it
because
but-
I've seen like
Yeah.
stories about the behind the scenes clip. And
Yeah.
I don't know if she actually hit them, but she actually did all that
she made it convincing
in
enough.
one. Oh yeah, 100%. She did a job.
That's a perfect segue into something we haven't done in a couple episodes, and that's the Who Stays, Who Goes. The last time that we did these, it was a tie, I think twice. So I'm
Here we
gonna
go.
try to vastly avoid that.
We have an odd number of people, and yet we still have time.
Yeah.
I think I know where you're going, and Brad
So-
Pitt won't be on the list.
What's that?
I'm
Brad
not Brad
Pitt?
Pitt. I mean, what's his name?
George Clooney?
No,
Kilmer?
no,
Al?
the one that everybody hates, the more recent one.
Val Kilmer?
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck.
we didn't-
Affleck.
That's so funny. We didn't even say one thing about him. That is.
And
That's,
we're not going to.
That's, yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
we usually
I'm
do
sorry, Ben. I didn't mean.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. We usually do 3, and the 3 has caused a tie a couple of times.
Batfleck.
So let's just go 2. You have a choice. 1 stays, 1 goes. Michael Keaton or Christian Bale. Rob, you go first.
Christian Bale.
Wow. Out the door, just like that.
Out the door.
So that means Heath Ledger, Joker, gone, Dark Knight,
Bye.
Bane.
Yeah, Bane.
Darkness is your ally.
We could go with Bane.
Do you feel in charge?
Yeah, no, I have to say, because the Michael Keaton Batmobile, the suit, the fucking logo, the whole
Jack
fucking...
Nicholson.
My childhood,
That's-
that was a fucking high in Batman culture that I don't know if will be touched again.
That was a great
Even
year.
if this Pattinson movie is like
Phenomenal.
the best Batman storytelling in fucking decades.
You know me
I'm
and Batman
sorry,
89. You know how much
I
I
am
love
never
it.
going to be as excited as like when I was a kid seeing like Batman at the fucking mall and like how cool the
Batman
car
cereal.
was and Batman cereal, the little bank that came with it.
Yep.
It was a cultural phenomenon,
It
and that's
was.
really what
Was.
got people into the superhero bug.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah,
It kicked off.
You had Christopher Reeve Superman through the '80s, but that served a specific niche.
Right.
Whereas Batman made superheroes cool,
Right.
Not like
Oh,
cheesy.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And now it's cool to like superheroes.
There's nothing
and then,
cooler than 89
and
Batman.
then
No.
There's nothing.
things like that 89 Batman where it's like we can take comic book characters and make them darker.
Right.
That's why you ended up getting like movies like Blade, and then that's what really started the whole cinematic
Even
universe.
Ninja Turtles a year later in 1990, it was like a darker take on the
Themed
cartoon
off
version
that.
of Ninja
And it
Turtles.
was a dark comic. Like
Absolutely.
people forget, like they killed the fucking Shredder. Like,
Yeah.
like the original comic was pretty brutal. It was black and white. It was definitely
It had
a
a
graphic
grit.
novel more than a comic
So
book.
R.I.P. 1 for Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Joe, you
Zach?
go next. Let's go the other
Want me
way.
to go?
Yeah, when somebody leaves church early, you know.
You want me to go next?
Yeah, you got it. Let's go the other way around.
I'm out of here.
When Dark Knight came out, I saw it like 3 times in a row.
Yeah. Yeah. For real.
I was like, did you see it? No. All right, let's go. Did you see it? No. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
I wanted to see it again and see how other people like enjoyed the movie. So to me, like that movie is just it's hard to kind of cancel out. But yeah, I have too many fond memories of 1989 Batman, 1992 Batman. So Michael Keaton to me for an on-screen Batman is my favorite. And I know I said Adam West because he just has a longer maybe lineage of playing Batman other than Kevin Conroy, who's still playing Batman till this day. But yeah, Christian Bale, that's 2 for him. Sorry. Sweet.
All right. Well, at least we'll make things a little interesting because I don't really have too much of an attachment. That was a little bit before my time. For me, what got me really interested in Batman was that trilogy. And when I look back, it's crazy because the world was an entirely different place. DC was on top of the cinematic universe. And after that trilogy, except for, and we haven't mentioned Joker, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, which is still part of this whole discussion
You
because
just did.
it's an offshoot of Batman.
Terrible.
But apart from that, you said terrible? You didn't like Joker with Joaquin Phoenix?
No.
I didn't see it.
You didn't
So
see
I
it,
don't
Rob?
have I got no opinion one way or the other.
Oh, it was a great movie. It was is that how do you
I can
you
only
guys
watch
agree?
that
I
movie
mean,
once. I watched it once in the theater. It was really like depressing.
That's
definitely
And
depressing.
it kind of hits you a certain way where I don't have the like the passion to watch it a second time.
That was the point of
I
it,
just
though.
don't.
It was meant to be like a one and done to make you feel like, oh, that fucking sucks, and then you realize,
Fucks
like,
you up.
oh, that's why he's the Joker.
Yeah.
All right, cool. But it's like it's this build up, an emotional build up.
It was a good mental story, which is the whole story of the Joker. But I mean, my point being, the world was a different place when those Batman movies were out because DC was like the top. Now Marvel and everything DC makes, Marvel's great, and everything DC makes is mostly disliked. I feel like Peacemaker's pretty good.
I heard that, but that's a show.
It is a
I
show.
feel like
yes.
DC does shows better than movies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Their animated stuff
Yeah.
is the best.
I never
It is the
watched.
best.
Was it
There's-
Smallwood? Was that the
Smallville?
Smallville? Is that like a young
Superman?
Superman or
watch-
something?
I used to watch that.
Smallville's the town that Superman comes from.
I know that was well liked. I never watched it, but anyway, yeah, I would have to say that Bale stays because those movies really got me a lot more into Batman and Heath Ledger. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's an epic performance.
Vin?
And he did great. I won't take that away from
Oh,
him. I just
no.
picked Keaton because of the nostalgia factor. But
Yeah, when you say 89 Batman versus whatever Christian Bale, I think of the Jack Nicholson Heath Ledger performances
Right.
almost more than I think of Batman.
Yeah.
For me, yeah, the nostalgia's there. I fucking 89 Batman. I will watch that today, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson and
Yeah.
that style of Joker. I love that style of Joker.
He was like a gangster.
Yeah, he's a gangster. He has that. It's the most comic book looking Joker. It's the most accurate. You know, the paint and
the hair.
yeah, it's very it's very
purple,
true to the
yeah.
character. Whereas Heath Ledger did his own take, and his performance is stellar. It's a fucking great movie.
Jared Leto had a fucking terrible.
Michael Keaton.
We don't talk about that here.
Michael Keaton is I don't know. He almost is a better Batman than Christian Bale in my eyes. Like when I see Michael Keaton do some of the things that he does, he can't do what Christian Bale did in those movies. So many restrictions from the suit and all that shit. But yeah, when I think of Batman, I think of the yellow background logo with the black bat, and that's how I think of Batman. So I think of Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton's Batman would stay.
Okay.
Zach?
I mean, it's already been decided, but
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and throw your 2 cents in, Zach.
Yeah. I mean, for me, Bell stays because
There you go.
we're
We're all showing our age here.
I really, really, really enjoyed that specific take on Batman. I personally love Christopher Nolan as a director, for obvious reasons and all the shit he does. But
I was wondering what would break
It's a fucking
first.
great
Your
trilogy.
mind?
when
Oh,
I think
your body.
of the
that
Nolan
sucked.
trilogy, the
Michael
first
Caine.
fucking thing that comes to mind is not Heath Ledger. It's not fucking Christian Bale. It's not Anne Hathaway. She's beautiful. It's Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer had the best
Great
fucking
soundtrack.
score
Yeah.
any movie had probably seen in a long time. Like, I Hans Zimmer is
And you got Qui-Gon as Ra's al Ghul.
yeah, cool as fuck. You get Liam Neeson. You know?
That's
Like,
it's a stellar
it's-
trilogy.
I think of a lot of all the small things that went into making that trilogy possible, and like when you really look at the big picture of like that trilogy, I mean, you have all those pieces put
It
together.
was definitely sad to see it like end.
yeah.
Like that.
All of those actors in one trilogy is
Yeah.
like mind blowing to think about today.
Yeah.
Like
And of course,
fucking-
I saw them all in the theaters.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
I wish I got to see him in
I've
theaters.
seen every
It's
movie. I've seen every Batman movie.
I have
in
as
theaters,
well.
except for the. I don't think I saw Batman versus Superman in the movie
I saw that in the
theaters.
theaters. Too.
Like just
I'm the biggest Batman fan in this room.
It's
like,
a more
hands down.
premium Batman for sure. It's a more premium trilogy. And the fact that Christopher Nolan did a fucking
Yeah.
trilogy. He doesn't do sequels. He doesn't do follow-ups to his movies. He does the one, he moves on. So I'm surprised that he found such an interest in the character. I think
Yeah.
it speaks to the dynamic character that
Those movies definitely
Batman
feel like
is.
one big story divvied up
Yeah.
in three
Yeah.
chapters.
Ju-
That's
absolutely.
really
I'm
what it
just
is.
I'm just still shocked thinking about it now. All of
Except Maggie
the
Gyllenhaal.
star power he got in all of those movies. I mean, you get
Michael Caine, bro.
fucking
I
Michael
wanted
Caine
to ask,
as
who do you
Alfred.
guys like as your
Liam
best
Neeson.
Alfred? Who was Michael
Liam
Keaton's
Neeson,
Alfred?
Gary Oldman, Anne
was
Hathaway,
really
Christian
great.
Bale, Heath
Gary-
Ledger.
They even had a little Joffrey
Morgan
in it.
Freeman. Like
Yeah,
Michael
so
Keaton's
many people.
Michael Keaton's Batman was
the Venom.
an old
He didn't have an Alfred, right?
Yeah, he did.
did
No,
have
he had an
Alfred.
old
Who was
theater.
Michael
He had
Caine.
like a classic act. No, we're talking
No,
about
no.
Michael Keaton's Alfred.
Michael Keaton had an Alfred. Absolutely.
Michael Keaton's Alfred was a classic
classic
British
like,
theater actor.
kind of like
probably-
he kind of like looked
like
like the
Obi-Wan.
Alfred from the animated series. Very
Yeah,
similar to that.
yeah. He's older. He's like from the same. I think he's from the same school of actor as the Obi-Wan, the original
Right.
Obi-Wan.
Mr. Wayne?
Alec Guinness. I think
Yeah,
it's
Alec Guinness.
like Alec Guinness and
His
Or
contemporary.
even Michael
Maybe-
Caine, no? I mean, he's of that prestige level, isn't he?
no. I just mean that the two actors, they were like
Where
that
that came from.
age. Like he
What's
was
the
an
point of all these
older.
push-ups if you can't move a bloody log?
Yeah, but Michael Caine, you're not going to argue like he's not a great fucking Alfred.
Oh,
and
he's-
to Zach's point,
He's so good.
Yeah.
it's so well
No,
cast.
the
Yeah.
casting in those movies are phenomenal, and then the casting just went to hell when they stopped
Well,
doing
can I-
Christian Bale.
I don't know what they fucked up with Bane, and they didn't. How did you not hear? Like, oh, this is gonna sound kind of weird in the theaters. I don't know. I
Well,
always thought
even
it sounded
that,
weird
even that
as
aside,
fuck.
though, I mean, even if that is like the sore spot in the trilogy, they
No,
they
my-
can't replicate that. I mean,
My
they
sore spot is fucking Maggie Gyllenhaal.
they tried to fucking the Ben Affleck series, you know, disaster. They just can't.
He has the best fight though. I would say Ben Affleck.
He has the most gritty, like, he's kind of like,
when he fights in that warehouse or that fish market, whatever the hell it is, that's fucking badass. That was a fucking
Batman versus
I
Superman.
didn't mind the Bat Fleck,
Fleck,
whatever the fuck you want to call it. I didn't really mind
bad,
that.
but
it was
They didn't
outside
give-
of his control.
They didn't give it time to flesh out. He didn't have a standalone movie. He was
Yeah.
kind of thrown upon you in this Superman Batman movie, which
Yep.
they did a horrible job of that movie.
He recently spoke to that because he had originally signed on. He was going to write and direct like a three-movie thing.
I remember.
And I think his experience on the set, some negative shit that happened with Josh Whedon.
Yeah. The Snyder Cut was better, though, in Justice League, if you haven't seen it.
I did watch.
Yeah, it was
Much
rough. They
better.
just speeded up the slow-mo, bro. Like every 30 seconds is
know.
a slow-mo fucking scene. Like, here's the thing that DC needs to do. Don't be fucking Marvel. Don't copy it. Don't be it. Peacemaker is a
can't do
good
it.
direction. Get adult. Like we're talking about, you said the D&D cartoon. It's made for
grittiness.
adults.
Yeah.
It's something that's... Please do that with DC. 'cause
You guys
DC,
like anime and you guys like adult stuff.
Yeah.
You have HBO Max. I highly
Yeah.
recommend the Harley Quinn cartoon.
I watched
Oh,
a couple
shit.
episodes
I've heard
of that.
that.
And it's actually really funny.
Incredible.
I've heard that.
Absolutely
They have
incredible.
great source material. They have so many good characters to work off of. But you know what I think they lack at DC is a figurehead, a leader, a Kevin Feige, a Dave Filoni,
just
someone
all
who
over the
cares.
place.
Yeah, it's
There's no consistency.
You could tell it's a group of board members. How do we make this make $250 million?
Right,
It's not about the character, the passion for the
About
character.
the IP. It's not
Only
about
the director or the actors can show it, and then they get overridden or there's rewrites. You know, it lacks a focus. It lacks a coherent vision for where they really should take.
And that's a
DC.
shame because Batman, other than Spider-Man, is like
the best stable of villains, the
100%. The
complex
rogues gallery is-
character.
well, also like money-wise, he generates like the most kind of dollars out of any other superhero for sure.
That's why I'm so
100%.
excited for this new movie because I
Yeah.
mean Robert Pattinson is like he is the male actor to be at this point, given the roles he's been in recently from ever since Twilight. His
I'm getting
his boom from Twilight.
He's
recently.
earning my respect.
Yeah.
He did it.
I'm
through
excited
a few,
for this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did it through a few other things. I saw The Lighthouse.
Yeah.
He was clearly he's trying to break out of that. I watched a couple of interviews with him
And I think
recently.
he even hates those movies.
He
Oh, he
speaks to
hates
it.
them, yeah.
He doesn't even like the way he acted in them. And actually, he almost got fired from Twilight. His agent and somebody else had to go to the set and they like invited him to lunch. And he thought he was doing great and shit. And then his agent told him, whatever you're doing, you have to do the opposite. Like today, you can't do what you're doing. It's not working for the film. And so the whole Twilight production, and he even spoke about some Harry Potter things that he did.
Oh, when he held the wand, like
He's
a
holding
gun.
the wand. Yeah,
Yeah.
so like it's clear he's evolving as an actor, and he's probably getting more comfortable to maybe go after the things he wants.
He's aware of how bad it was, but like he's had a lot of really good movies recently, like The Lighthouse. There was one that I'm trying to think of the name off the top of my head. It was on Netflix. I think it still is. Tom Holland is in it. It's something about the devil or something. I'll look it up. But he plays like a pastor, and he's like just a evil bastard. Like he causes. I'm not going to spoil anything because you should watch it. It's a good movie. I'll mention the name when I figure it out. But he plays like this really manipulative, conniving bastard who, like, you just hate him, and that's like really good acting. Is when you hate a character so badly. Like, he really does a good job. He does another one where he's a convict. I think he was a drug dealer that he went to Queens, and he lived in Queens for a few months and like stayed with people from Queens to learn how they acted and how they spoke and like really immerse himself in that to portray the character well. So like he is a phenomenal actor. He just, when you put him in the right roles, he really shines, which is why I'm hoping he's really good with a dark, gritty tone. I think he's going to be great.
This
for
movie
Batman.
looks very, very gritty.
Yeah.
I think we should segue into like our final topic. We're all going to watch it together on March 2nd. I cannot wait for that. Starting with you, Zach, like what do you, wish list wise, what do you want from this film?
I am interested in seeing, because this seems more of like a Batman origin in a way, like a true origin. Like the suit is a little rough, the Batmobile is a little rough. Like I feel the true beginnings of Batman this time around. I hope to see like some of the Bruce Wayne perspective of like Bruce, like seeing some of his like internal conflict and like what causes him to really become Batman, and like that first sort of like when it snaps for him and he realizes like, oh, I've got all this money and I've got like, I've got like a fire inside me. Like, let's like seeing how he builds up the Batcave and seeing him assemble the Batmobile and like get Alfred on board and like
Batman Year One kind of
thing. Yeah. I like to see that.
Fucking stole the words out of my mouth.
Like how he goes after the Riddler and how he goes like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna put on this fucking crazy suit and drive this car around the street and like find this guy, like, or how he learns to be like a detective and how he learns to fight, like that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Vin, how about you?
I'm definitely liking the tone that I'm seeing in the trailers. So it seems pretty solidified. It's going to be dark, gritty, realistic. I want to see something that's I want to see like a kind of an unhinged Batman of sorts, of a vicious, like he wants kind of the payback. He's not really looking to be soft on the criminals. I think there's a few scenes they've shown in the trailers where he looks like he's really dishing it out on these guys. So I definitely want to see kind of like that young, dumb Batman where maybe he doesn't understand all the consequences of what he's doing.
A little reckless.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more reckless.
Tried to sell an eighth and now a paraplegic.
Definitely that tinkerer thing. I love gadgets. I love that stuff, and I like to see how it's created or how he went about making it. And
he came up with a batarang.
Yeah, and then the evolution. As to your point, Year One, this has that Earth 2 feel, which makes me think like, are they trying to kind of relaunch do an alternate dimension of this whole thing? They're clearly teasing that with the Flash and Michael Keaton did the voiceover for the Flash. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to just a unleashed Batman.
It would probably look cheesy, but I really love the blue and gray Batman. That's my favorite version of Batman.
And I do want another Joker teaser at the end of the movie. I don't care if that's a repeat of the first. I don't care. I want that.
Another Joker.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. It's like, how are you gonna leave out?
You gotta have it.
You gotta have it eventually.
He's
the one.
We want it. It's been stated.
Let's go.
That's some the trick.
He wants to do it. We want to see him do it. Just let's. Yeah.
Norman's on sabbatical, honey.
God, imagine him in that Jack Nicholson-esque, maybe not as polished, but something to that comic style.
Absolutely.
Fucking cool.
It's how sweet is it? Sweet.
Well, so if the Riddler's really gonna kind of be based off of the Zodiac killer in a sense, that's a very interesting murderer to me, or case, is that what makes the Zodiac killer unique in a sense. In my mind, there's two kinds of like killers or bad people. There's people that just want to kill, and then there's people who kind of do it for like the attention. And I did a whole report on the Zodiac killer when I was in like 11th grade, and what made him really interesting was that he would like fuck with the media. That's what made him the Zodiac killer, because he would like send the media like cryptic letters, where they would have to decode them, and they were all bullshit. But he would also try to do things like, if you wear, I forget what it was, like if you wear this pin or this color hat, you're safe. And my point is that I think a good villain is what really makes any good superhero. Mm-hmm. And I really hope that they nail the Riddler, make him like a really dark character that's like fucking with him.
A psychological
you
terrorist.
You could even make like a good story where it's like, okay, so he's like a millionaire, billionaire playboy, and maybe like somebody from one of his like, rich playboy parties, like one of the girls gets shot, or like this couple in a car like gets shot, or something like that. So now it's
something
like
close to him.
Yeah, and then what if they're even like, maybe it's
even though he doesn't
fucking
have
billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne. Who knows? You know what I mean? But I think they could really play like a cool
framing Bruce Wayne for the crime, and now Batman has to clear Bruce Wayne's name, kind of thing.
Right, just or he has a vested interest. Maybe they were like his friends that this person killed. He wanted like a high, somebody that would get him a lot of notoriety if he killed them. So he kills like some rich socialite. I don't know. I think that would be a really cool story, and he's all cryptic, and we'll see where they go with that. But I think that you really need a good villain to set him up properly, and I also think that you need a good Alfred.
Yeah,
you do need a good. Do we know who's
good
playing Alfred yet?
Yeah, it's Andy Serkis.
Oh, really?
I believe so. Yeah.
The guy who
Yeah.
plays like everybody,
Gollum.
like
Gollum. He does
Yeah.
every. Yeah.
That'll be cool.
Snow
Okay,
Goblins.
I'm excited.
The
for
cast
He's a
is
great
solid.
actor.
This
Yeah.
cast is solid.
Definitely.
Colin Farrell looks
Colin
crazy.
Farrell
as
as the
the
Penguin. Zoe Kravitz is
Zoe
Catwoman.
Kravitz.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
she's hot as
she's a cutie. Love
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my thoughts. Vin, what are you thinking?
I think it's Joe.
Or is it Joe? I don't know, I'm
Again,
all
I'll go
mixed
fuck myself.
Joe,
Keep that going. Let's keep that going.
up. Destiny
Joe
sucks.
fucked himself for
AEW
the
sucks.
time today.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Does he
suck
have
that.
no conscience? Does he have no soul? You son of a bitch! You realize what you've done?
So the Michael Keaton Batman was a darker Batman. It had a lot of cartoon elements in it.
Yeah.
The Tim Burton just esque of that, and then it just went really cartoony with, Val
Joel
Kilmer, and then George Clooney, and then it went back to dark again with Christian Bale.
More realism.
Still had realism, but it still had a little bit of elements of like modern and cartoon,
Larger than life.
characters and things like that.
Yeah.
This one by far takes the cake in terms of like real and gritty. So if they're going to go in that direction, I'm really interested to see if Batman's really going to flex his ultimate muscle, which you see flashes of that in all the other Batman films, but he is an amazing detective.
Yeah.
And I would like to see some real detective work shown out in this movie, a la how it is if you played any of the Arkham Asylum games.
Arkham Asylum.
Oh, that's right.
Fucking
And I appreciate
That's funny.
Arkham Asylum specifically for
My favorite
heavy,
games.
heavy
Puzzle
detective
solving,
work.
detective work.
Yeah.
See, Arkham
Solve,
City
get
is
the
more about
clues.
like the exploration and taking down
Right.
major enemies.
Right.
But Arkham Asylum, you were
Yeah.
stuck in a smaller
Right.
map,
Right.
and you had to use your detective skills
To get in the building
around,
or find out the clues. So
take out
I think,
security. All that shit.
and the Riddler is as smart, if not smarter, than Batman in certain ways. So if he's just going to continually fuck with him,
Pull his
and-
strings.
oh, this is just going to be such a great tie-in to that. And I did read somewhere that Colin Farrell's Penguin character is in a very small portion of this movie, which leads me to believe that there is potentially room in a 3-hour movie, which is what it is, for possibly another villain. So that's the if, ands, or maybes, or maybe we'll see it at the end or the credits roll. But I am super hyped for this, as you were, Zach, for Spider-Man. This is my like most anticipated period anything of the year is this movie. So I'm really looking forward to it. Robbie, baby, take us home.
I would love to see more of Batman's Rogues Gallery because we've discussed it before. He has
Court of the Owls. Is that
one of the greatest. I mean, Court of the Owls would be wild. I would love to see Clayface iterated in
Calendar
some
Man.
way. Calendar Man.
Mad Hatter.
Even do like a creepy thing with like the ventriloquist. Imagine
Definitely,
something like
definitely
that.
make that work.
I
It's
would
animated series
absolutely
stuff.
love. Imagine he's like in a dark warehouse.
Yeah.
And then you just see the fucking puppet, and he starts shooting at him and shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, you don't know what the fuck's going on, but
There's
it's really
a lot
this,
of
it's crazy
untapped Batman
ventriloquist.
villains that they have not shown yet on big screen. They've always shown Joker, Riddler, Penguin. That's kind of been like the trend. But yeah,
You could see success in characters like a revamp of Poison Ivy because of a lot of people with the people with global warming and everything. You can definitely tie her in.
That's easy. Yeah, that's
and
true.
she's somebody that's identifiable as a villain. You can get people that are deep, like Mr. Freeze, but the real story of Mr. Freeze, how he's trying to save his wife.
Nothing against Arnold.
Nothing against Arnold. Did a great job for the campy movie that they made. But Victor Freeze is an extremely complex character.
Yeah.
Because that's what I love about Batman villains is sometimes they're justified.
I love when he
100%.
helped, when
That's
he
the
like
best
helps
villain.
Batman out sometimes. Like
He
when they have a
they've
mutual
teamed up
like,
in the past.
Yeah.
He's not an evil guy.
No.
He's just a scientist that's trying to save his wife from a rare
He's
disease.
willing to
and he's
do
willing to do anything.
anything. Yeah.
And that's where Batman takes an issue with.
Yeah.
But Batman has also shown compassion to him
Right.
and continued to
Try to
do
help
research
or-
or try to help him cure
it's
Nora.
my favorite
and
boss
stuff.
battle in those Arkham games.
Those-
is the
the-
Mr. Freeze battle.
Thinking
for
of
sure.
that too,
He was a good.
the Robins, like seeing how he cycles through Dick Grayson and I'm getting there,
Damian
working
Wayne
there. Thank you.
and
yeah.
Tim Drake.
Yeah,
Tim
how
Drake's
if he finds the different Robins and like what happened. Like I would love to see that because that's really like gritty and like that's
Or even the female Robin they had in that one comic.
But Court of the Owls, I would
Batgirl.
love to see Court of the Owls like it brought
It'd be interesting
because they're such a cool fucking villain. You're like, what the fuck are these guys? They're so like
they're tough.
They're way above Bruce Wayne and Batman, and it's like you're the whole like that whole discovery of like who the fuck are these guys and like where do they come from? It's just so like jaunting. I think is the
and
right
we've
word.
had Dick Grayson. You know, Chris O'Donnell played Dick Grayson. I would like to see a Jason Todd.
Yeah,
that'd be sick.
Robin, because we have not
Red
seen
Hood.
that yet.
They're doing. I
really
saw a
cool.
teaser trailer. DC just launched like their, I think 2022 preview. So, but it was more about the HBO Max content, and there's going to be a whole thing about what are those? What are they called? It's when he's Red Hood. There's a Robin. I think
What
Batman's
about?
dead.
That
What,
was- I
what
think
do they
that's
call
for-
it?
No,
Like-
there's a game coming out too.
Yeah, that got delayed though. I
Yeah,
really
kinda
want to
bummed
play
about
that.
I
Did
can't
it
wait
get
for
delayed?
But there is something
Suicide
coming out,
Squad
and I
game
can't
got
remember
delayed
what the
too.
hell it's called. But it looks like they're trying to set up some of that stuff, some off, let's say off Batman content. I feel like Warner Bros has all the pieces. You have all the ability to do those things, expand on the cooler enemies, expand on fucking. I think that the Red Hood story arc and what happens to Robin,
So
and
cool.
it's one of the best stories. It's like how
The
did and
Killing
then
Joke.
Nightwing.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
the Killing Joke is unbelievable.
Yeah.
That would be.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they'll ever be able to
Death in the
take
Family.
that and add
Death in
that.
the Family is my favorite Batman.
That one
lineage
when he
of all
kills
time.
Robin.
I
That's
actually
Jason
have the
Todd.
original
Beyond.
books.
Jason Todd. I have them too.
So wait, that's Jason Todd getting killed.
Yeah, that's Jason Todd in Death in the Family. He's the one who dies from Joker
Okay.
in the building. I remember as a kid, and I'll try to wrap this up. I'll be quick about it. But I remember as a kid, my dad came home. He went to the newsstand and he came home and he gave me this comic. And it was a comic of Robin's face all bloody with like debris like all over him. And I was just like mortified at the time. I was a young kid.
Yo, it's
probably
like
8 or 9 years old.
And apparently it was
Scoring.
a voting system by
vote,
phone,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
somebody
Vote,
hacked the
exactly.
system and voted enough times to
kill
get
him.
Robin killed
To kill
off.
him.
Because they had the fans vote whether Robin should live or not.
There's a Death in the Family cartoon that just came out, and at a certain point you can actually vote on which ending that you would like to see. Does
Oh,
Batman save
shit.
Jason Todd from the building, or does Jason Todd get killed by the Joker? And you can actually see both scenarios kind of play out in that cartoon. I
Oh,
believe it's
shit.
on. It should be on HBO Max
That
at
is
this
so
point.
You know
Cool.
what's really funny? In one of my home movies, I have one tape that has like all my home movies from Christmases of yesteryear, and there's one tape where we got the Death in the Family comic series. We got the individual issues,
Yep.
but we also got the trade
graphic.
paperback that they came
where he's
out
holding
with.
Robin like this.
Exactly,
Yep, I have that
and I
too.
have that, and we got the Michael Keaton Batman figure with the zipline belt
I just
and the
bought that
Joker with
recently,
the
too.
stick.
Just bought that recently.
Yeah, we got all that, and it's all on tape. Like I have to dig that out because I got to do the same thing you did when you converted all your home movies to USB.
CD,
Yeah, do
I'll
it.
have to- I'll have
I
to
paid
do
the
that.
person. It was worth it because those tapes are those high eights. They're just not gonna last. So
No.
it's so cool to be able to skim through some of that shit.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. I hope they. Well, now you brought up Robin. Now I'm thinking on that wish list.
Yeah.
Not a Robin, but just like a tease. Throw in the character, throw in the kid, young, whatever. So the
Introduce
first
a Barbara Gordon, but
Yeah.
like
Young
not,
or-
not
No.
not yet. Like she's just young. Now they've
Hey, I'm
established this
Barbara.
character
Boom.
in a sequel movie that could possibly come out later. Maybe she gets more interested by the end of that movie. Maybe she's starting to do computer work for him.
Yeah.
She gets in the field.
yeah,
she
yeah.
gets hurt. That could be the introduction of the Joker with the
I'm
Killing
ex-
Joke.
I'm excited.
Now she's Oracle. You're establishing a universe there.
And-
Characters that you care about. You know what I mean?
in a 3-hour movie, I feel like
You
Ultimately,
can pull that off.
ultimately,
easily.
what I want out of this is just a continuation.
Yeah.
Because we've had this stop and go, start
origin.
and stop.
This
This Batman, that Batman, this guy's going to play Batman, this guy's gonna, I want
Let's
a
just go in.
nice continuation across a couple, I don't know, 3 or 4 movies, whatever you want to do, similar to what, Tom Holland has done with Spider-Man. He's been on Spider-Man now. Tony Stark has been only played by one man. Captain America, I mean, again, they
We're
don't have to
very
do the Marvel
comfortable.
thing, but I want that consistency
Yeah.
that the Marvel movies have
Continuity.
in a Batman movie.
Yeah.
Period. That's the main thing that I want out of this. So I hope it does well. I hope it's awesome. I hope we enjoy it.
Hell yeah.
I
And
can't
if it's
wait to
not,
go
you'll
see
hear
it.
about it on here.
Jesus Christ.
We'll be talking about it.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
We're definitely going to have our review up right after we watch it.
Bring us home, Rob.
Well, we're gonna wrap this episode up. This has been the 10th episode of the Break Room Podcast.
Yeah.
We finally have the double digits Misfits Club.
That's right.
We're really, really excited to bring more episodes your way. We want to thank everybody who's tuned in for these first 10 episodes. We got a lot more fun stuff in store for you. We're gonna keep talking geek news, and I'm really hyped for this Batman movie now. It can't come soon enough. Sure. But once again, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week. Woo!
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe.